There's a concentrated effort to stop it. They'll do anything to stop us, especially now. Because when is our opposition?
He's been fighting for us for so long. So many schools of thoughts we've been through, yeah, to keep us strong. So tell me, what is it that you're willing to do to make our dreams come true? Yeah, make our dreams come true. Been a long time coming, but now we're here. So won't you stand up and show no fear? For the master, master teacher. Freedom for the master, master teacher. Freedom for the master, master teacher. Freedom for the master, master teacher. 'Cause he's the man of the hour. They kidnapped him for building Tamarae. He put his life on the line for us all. And for the truth, the lies must fade away. Fade away. It's been a long time coming. Yes, let's be strong. For the 7 seals are breaking. It won't be long to make our dreams come true. For a life that's new. Some are called and few are chosen. How about you? For the master, master teacher. Freedom 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 for the master, freedom, master teacher. Freedom for the master, master teacher. Freedom for the master, freedom, master teacher. Freedom for the master, freedom, master teacher. Think not that we are earthborn, we come from earth, we may be, but we are life-born spirit, and without knowing we could never be free. Knowledge of this was lost when we were cast into blindness. The master teacher came and broke the chains of bondage. For the master, master teacher. Freedom for the master, freedom, master teacher. Freedom for the master, freedom, master teacher. Freedom for the master, freedom, master teacher. Freedom for the master, bring it master teacher. Bring it freedom for the master, master teacher. Freedom for the master, bring it master teacher. Bring it freedom for the master, master teacher. 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 Freedom for the master.
They did everything in their power to take this land and make sure that what's happening right now does not go on. They tried every trick in the book. They ain't finished. They tried slander, defamation of character. They tried to lock brothers up, harass sisters on the street, stop every car coming down to make sure they did everything they could. And not one person come out and help us. Why? Because they had us marked as a cult. Oh, there's some crazy suicide cult. There's a concentrated effort to stop it. They'll do anything to stop us, especially now. Because when is our opposition?
He's been fighting for us for so long. So many schools of thoughts we've been through, yeah, to keep us strong. So tell me, what is it that you're willing to do to make our dreams come true? Yeah, make our dreams come true. Been a long time coming, but now we're here. So won't you stand up and show no fear? For the master, dreams come true for a life that's new. Some are called and few are chosen. Said, how about you? For the master, master teacher, freedom 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 for the master, freedom, master teacher, freedom for the master, master teacher, freedom for the master, freedom, master teacher, freedom for the master, freedom, master teacher. Think not that we are earthborn, we come from earth, we may be, but we are life on spirit, and without knowing we can never be free. Knowledge of this was lost when we were cast into blindness. The master teacher came and broke the chains of bondage. For the master, master teacher, freedom for the master, freedom, master teacher, freedom for the master, freedom, master teacher, freedom for the master, freedom, master teacher, freedom for the master, bring it master teacher, bring it freedom for the master, master teacher, freedom for the master, bring it master teacher, bring it freedom for the master, master teacher, 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 freedom for the master.
They did everything in their power to take this land and make sure that what's happening right now does not go on. They tried every trick in the book. They ain't finished. They tried slander, defamation of character. They tried to lock brothers up, harass sisters on the street, stop every car coming down to make sure they did everything they could. And not one person come out and help us. Why? Because they had us marked as a cult. Oh, there's some crazy suicide cult. There's a concentrated effort to stop it. They'll do everything to stop us, especially now. Because where is our opposition?
He's been fighting for us for so long. So many schools of thoughts we've been through, yeah, to keep us strong. So tell me, what is it that you're willing to do to make our dreams come true? Yeah, make our dreams come true. Been a long time coming, but now we're here. So won't you stand up and show no fear? For the master, master teacher, freedom for the master, master teacher, freedom for the master, master teacher, freedom for the master, master teacher. 'Cause he's a man of the hour. They kidnapped him for building Tamarae. He put his life on the line for us all, and for the truth the lies must fade away. It's been a long time coming, yes, let's be strong. For the 7 seals are breaking, it won't be long to make our dreams come true for a life that's new. Some are called and few are chosen. How about you? For the master, master teacher, freedom 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 for the master, freedom, master teacher, freedom for the master, master teacher, freedom for the master, freedom, master spirit, and without knowing we could never be free. Knowledge of this was lost when we were cast into blindness. The master teacher came and broke the chains of bondage. For the master, master teacher, freedom for the master, freedom, master teacher, freedom for the master, freedom, master teacher, freedom for the master, freedom, master teacher, freedom for the master, bring the master teacher, bring the freedom for the master, master teacher. For the master, bring the master teacher, bring the freedom for the master, master teacher, 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 freedom for the master. Teacher, freedom for the master, master teacher, freedom for the master.
They did everything in their power to take this land and make sure that what's happening right now does not go on. They tried every trick in the book. They ain't finished. They tried slander, defamation of character. They tried to lock brothers up, harass sisters on the street, stop every car coming down and make sure they did everything they could. And not one person come out and help us. Why? Because they had us marked as a cult. Oh, there's some crazy suicide cult. There's a concentrated effort to stop it. They'll do anything to stop us, especially now. Because where is our opposition?
He's been fighting for us for so long. So many schools of thoughts we've been through, yeah, to keep us strong. So tell me, what is it that you're willing to do to make our dreams come true? Yeah, make our dreams come true. Been a long time coming, but now we're here. So won't you stand up and show no fear? For the master, master teacher, freedom for the master, master teacher, freedom for the master, master teacher, freedom for the master, master teacher. 'Cause he's a man of the hour. They kidnapped him for building Tamarae. He put his life on the line for us all. And for the truth, the lies must fade away. Fade away. It's been a long time coming. Yes, let's be strong. For the 7 seals are breaking. It won't be long to make our dreams come true. For a life that's new. Some are called and few are chosen. How about for the master, master teacher, freedom 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 for the master, freedom, master teacher, freedom for the master, master teacher, freedom for the master. Freedom for the master, freedom, master teacher. Think not that we are earthborn, we come from earth, we may be, but we are life on spirit, and without knowing we can never be free. Knowledge of this was lost when we were cast into blindness. The master teacher came and broke the chains of bondage. For the master, master teacher, freedom for the master, freedom, master teacher, freedom for the master, freedom, master teacher, freedom for the master, freedom, master teacher, freedom for the master, bring the master teacher, bring the freedom for the master, master teacher. teacher, freedom for the master. Bring the master teacher, bring the master teacher for the master. Master teacher, freedom 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 for the master.
They did everything in their power to take this land and make sure that what's happening right now does not go on. They tried every trick in the book. They ain't finished. They tried slander, defamation of character. They tried to lock brothers up, harass sisters on the street, stop every car coming down to make sure they did everything they could. And not one person come out and help us. Why? Because they had us marked as a cult. Oh, there's some crazy suicide cult.
Bring home now, bring home now. It's freedom, master teacher, freedom, master teacher. Bring home now, bring home now. It's freedom, master teacher, freedom, master teacher.
There's a concentrated effort to stop it. They'll do everything to stop us, especially now. Because where is our
He's
opposition?
been fighting for us for so long. So many schools of thoughts we've been through, yeah, to keep us strong. So tell me, what is it that you're willing to do to make our dreams come true? Yeah, make our dreams come true. Been a long time coming, but now we're here. So won't you stand up and show no fear? For the master, master teacher, freedom for the master. Master teacher, freedom for the master. Master teacher, freedom for the master. Master teacher, 'cause he's the man of the hour. They kidnapped him for building Tamare. He put his life on the line for us all. And for the truth, the lies must fade away. Fade away. It's been a long time coming. Yes, let's be strong. For the 7 seals are breaking. It won't be long to make our dreams come true. For a life that's new. Some are called and few are chosen. Said, how about you? For the master, master teacher, freedom for the master. 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 Freedom, master teacher, freedom for the master. Master teacher, freedom for the master. Freedom, master teacher, freedom for the master. Freedom, master teacher. Think not that we are earthborn, we come from earth, we may be, but we are life on spirit, and without knowing we can never be free. Knowledge of this was lost when we were cast into blindness. The master teacher came and broke the chains of bondage. For the master, master teacher, freedom for the master. Freedom, master teacher, freedom for the master. Freedom, master teacher, freedom for the master. Freedom, master teacher, freedom for the master. Bring the master teacher, bring the freedom for the master. Master teacher, freedom for the master. Bring the master teacher, bring the freedom for the master. Master teacher, freedom for the master. Master teacher, master.
They did everything in their power to take this land and make sure that what's happening right now does not go on. They tried every trick in the book. They ain't finished. They tried slander, defamation of character. They tried to lock brothers up, harass sisters on the street, stop every car coming down and make sure they did everything they could. And not one person come out and help us. Why? Because they had us marked as a cult. Oh, there's some crazy suicide cult. There's a concentrated effort to stop it. They'll do anything to stop us, especially now. Because where is our opposition?
He's been fighting for us for so long. So many schools of thoughts we've been through, yeah, to keep us strong. So tell me, what is it that you're willing to do to make our dreams come true? Yeah, make our dreams come true. Been a long time coming, but now we're here. So won't you stand up and show no fear? For the master, master teacher. Freedom for the master, master teacher. Freedom for the master, master teacher. Freedom for the master, master teacher. 'Cause he's the man of the hour. They kidnapped him for building Tamare. He put his life on the line for us all. And for the truth, the lies must fade away. It's been a long time coming. Yes, let's be strong. For the 7 seals are breaking. It won't be long to make our dreams come true. For a life that's new. Some are called and few are chosen. How about you? For the master, master teacher. Freedom 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 for the master, freedom, master teacher. Freedom for the master, master teacher. Freedom for the master. Freedom for the master, freedom, master teacher. Think not that we are earthborn, we come from earth, we may be, but we are life on spirit, and without knowing we can never be free. Knowledge of this was lost when we were cast into blindness. The master teacher came and broke the chains of bondage. For the master, master teacher. Freedom for the master, freedom, master teacher. Freedom for the master, freedom, master teacher. Freedom for the master, freedom, master teacher. Freedom for the master, bring the master teacher. Bring the freedom for the master, master teacher. Freedom for the master, bring the master teacher. Bring the freedom for the master. Master teacher, 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 freedom for the master. Master teacher.
They did everything in their power to take this land and make sure that what's happening right now does not go on. They tried every trick in the book. They ain't finished. They tried slander, defamation of character. They tried to lock brothers up, harass sisters on the street, stop every car coming down and make sure they did everything they could. And not one person come out and help us. Why? Because they had us marked as a cult. Oh, there's some crazy suicide cult.
Bring home been fighting for us for so long. So many schools of thoughts we've been through, yeah, to keep us strong. So tell me, what is it that you're willing to do to make our dreams come true? Yeah, make our dreams come true. Been a long time coming, but now we're here. So won't you stand up and show no fear? For the master, master teacher. Freedom for the master, master teacher. Freedom for the master, master teacher. Freedom for the master, master teacher. 'Cause he's the man of the hour. They kidnapped him for building Tamarack. He put his life on the line for us all. And for the truth, the lies must fade away. Fade away. It's been a long time coming. Yes, let's be strong. For the 7 seals are breaking. It won't be long to make our dreams.
Rahubat Moisa. Rahubat. Welcome everyone online. TikTok, Facebook, Insta, and of course YouTube. Always a pleasure to be before you to spread and make people aware of Wu-Sabat, and of course the one and only master teacher, Partner Bab Yanun, the reformer, the guide, the savior for this day and time, for those that are ready to elevate to the next level, the savior for humanity. So once again, welcome. Roderick, Milton, Rahubat, Rita, M442, Rahubat. Everyone that's joining us, please share the link. Let everyone know we're live. Just seeing who else is joining us. Desiree, Rahubat. Levi, Anglin, Rahubat. Reyes, Ananda, our regular, Rahubat. My brother from another mother, Rahubat. Saket Ra, Rahubat. Brusca Noise, Rahubat. Charlie Perner, Rahubat. Just waiting for more people to join, but remember you can call in live on the number in front of you. Outside the UK is +44 753 996 3882. All right, you can call in live, use your WhatsApp, and you can ask questions live. Rahubat Saket Ra. Peace and bliss to you too. Hatap. Yep, Akfosh Muklas Nun Atom Reye. Akfosh Baba Yanun. Yep. Free Baba. Charlie Perner, hello, love watching you from Boston, Massachusetts. Massachusetts in the house. Rahubat. Appreciate love you. Crowd favorite media, Rahubat. Chrissy Jones, Rahubat. A Online, V7F, Rahubat. Yep, it's that time again. Coco Brown, 5555. I love that name, Coco Brown. Rahubat. Harrisburg, Pennsylvania in the house. Rahubat. Chrissy Jones. I'm not the master teacher. That's Partner Bab Janun. We go cool already. All right, let's go for it. Greetings, caller. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Let me do some sidekick and guess. It's going to be from Jamaica. Rahubat, caller. What's your name? Where are you calling from? And what's your question, please?
My name is Kerith Muir
I
from
told you.
Jamaica.
I was right on point. How are you doing today, Zamal?
I'm doing well.
Good, good, good. Go ahead. What's your question?
Okay, so I asked you previously that if there are countless humanoid beings from different worlds scattered across the universe, and you said yes. But you said that many of them are shapeshifters, but I want to be specific. There are many humanoid beings that look almost identical to humans, and they're not shapeshifters. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay, so my question is, all of these humanoid beings that look almost identical to humans, were they all created, or were most of them created by the same source or beings?
Okay. Let me try and explain this in a little bit more with a little bit more clarity. When we say shapeshifting, right? Shapeshifting is something that even females do, right? Because they go through their menstrual cycle, or when a female shapeshift because she's able to adapt to be able to give birth to both males and females. And you can see that during pregnancy, for example, a lot of women, they look different, their skin is different, they literally shapeshift from month to month, and particularly during when they're pregnant and stuff like that, because everyone is tied into that reptilian genetics, because coming out of the water and onto land means you were from the seas. In terms of humans, there are human or humanoids that are born. They may be mixed with an extraterrestrial, and that they've mixed in and had children. And this is why even so when we say beings are extraterrestrial, it's not spooky. Like we can't make it into a spooky thing, because the Bible tells you the Nephilims came down and they had children. These Anunnaki came down, and Enlil and Enki went to Africa and he took wives and he had children. So when you're saying humanoid, firstly, it depends on who we're talking about, and that the ones where you're saying it in a cynical way, like there are beings that are grown in laboratories through cloning and stuff, and they would also be humanoid. And when you're being cloned, they're taking DNA and genetics to create this, or make, shall I say, this hybrid. So it depends on which humanoid you're talking about. There are beings that live in the caverns that have come onto the surface, and they mingle and walk around with people on the surface, and you wouldn't know the difference between one and the other. You see, so it all depends on who we're talking about, and the term humanoid is quite broad and quite vague.
Okay, but I'm not really saying like humanoid beings that were developed in a lab are clones. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about like extraterrestrial humanoid looking beings. Were they all created by the same source?
No, this is what I'm saying. Like when you say extraterrestrial humanoids, it's easier if we speak about who. It's just like today on the planet, we can say this is an Asian, this is an African, or this is a Caucasian. We need to start knowing who we're talking about, because there are different types of extraterrestrials, many species, and they've been crossbreeding as well. That's why if you said to me, for example, which extraterrestrial beings are you talking about? Because
Okay,
each race on the planet is associated with their root extraterrestrial race. And then obviously the mixture between different people on the planet, we refer to as sub-races.
Okay, so would you say that the Anunnaki and the Palladians were created by the same source?
What I'm saying, no, they're different species. Different star systems have different beings. This is why when they show you movies like Star Trek or like Star Wars or any of these, you know, what they term science fiction movies, they show you different types of extraterrestrial species coexisting and working together. So just because, this is what I'm trying to explain, like, okay, if you're from London, right? London is a place, a city in the UK, right? But in London, you will have many types of races and hybrids and different species or sub-races mixed up. So you would say, I'm a Londoner, you see, or I come from like Birmingham, we would say, you know, you're a Brummie or a Mancunian if you're from Manchester. So that doesn't describe who you are. It's just, it's like we say, I'm an Earthling. An Earthling is anybody that lives on the planet Earth. But when you drill down into, okay, we're all Earthlings because we're on the planet Earth. But then within those people, there are races. We go into, like we said, the root races. Then we can drill even further down and go into the different species of a particular race, you see. And then you then have to drill further into what makes up that person. It will be the DNA of who they're mixed with. It's the same with extraterrestrials. So you might have a draconian that has abducted a grey and have made a being or a hybrid being from the mixture of the two. Or you can get a Palladian that has abducted, say, somebody on the planet Earth and put them to sleep, injected them with, you know, their DNA, artificially insemination and things like that. And then the woman has a child that's part, you know, Palladian, and you wouldn't know because it's about the chromosomes. Once the chromosomes match, then you're going to produce a species based on that genetic makeup. So if you want to go through the different types of extraterrestrials, you can actually look at people on the planet and look at their heights, right? Look at their complexion, look at, are they very hairy? And look at, you know, the extraterrestrials that will match up to that. So for example, if you're very hairy, the likelihood is you may be mixed with Enkidu or like the shaggy beings or the Duanis. You see what I'm saying? So even though you're humanoid, you still have a trait from the extraterrestrials. If you're very, very tall, that genetic could be from the Nephilim, from the giants. If you're short, it could relate to the Pataites or the, what they call the Pygmies, or they call, you know, like I said, the Duanis, which are quite short. So it's not about, it's about the genetic makeup of the being, not necessarily the appearance. You see, but we've all in some way, shape or form been mixed with the major three, which will be, you know, the reptilian, the grey, and the, you know, the mammal. And then for us, our root race would be the Natharu, you see, which are Nagaru, or some of us are mixed in with like Anunnaki, because Anunnaki, they also mixed with the Pataites, because Enki went to Africa and took wives and had offspring. So that's why the master used to say to us many years ago, the master teacher Partner Babyanun, that nobody knows who's who on the planet unless he writes a book about it. And he did. You know, when you start reading like the books called 18 plus 1, 18 plus 1, 37 genes of the mitochondrial DNA. When you read books like Bigfoot, when you read books like, I can't remember the exact title, Freaks of Nature. You know, there are many.
Can you answer this? Like, okay, so the number of beings in the universe that look almost identical to humans, are there as many as them in the millions? millions of different species?
There's 8 billion people on the planet. So it's not millions, it's billions. But when you say identical, this is what's throwing me off when you're saying they look identical to humans. Like, who are you talking about? Because let me give you an example. Like right now, I've explained how they're using AI to distort things. So people are seeing things now and they're thinking, oh, that's AI. But it could be the exact way that being looks, because they're slowly starting to come out and expose themselves in preparation for total exposure of extraterrestrials. But extraterrestrials have been here for billions of years, millions and billions of years. Some have learned to adapt and they've been able to conceal themselves away. But as time has gone on, people have seen them. Some people by accident, some people because now it's getting to that point where truth is being exposed. So reptilians, shape-shifting reptilians are now being exposed. People are telling you they've been in circles and been in situations with these beings, and a lot of things that are coming out now is exposing these beings that have been parading and taking over identities or being in certain positions and ruling from what we call principalities in higher places. But the master teacher, partner Babyanun, being here, he's here to bring truth and expose, and everything is being revealed. No matter what it is, whether it's religion, economics, science, what people call history, it's all being revealed. The truth is here. The only way go ahead.
Something I think is that I think that the Anunnaki, they're more aggressive than the Palladians. So is aggressiveness something that are being brutish in a way? Is that something that races of extraterrestrials can evolve past? Or are they just that way?
It's their nature, a being's nature. But the thing is, you're saying aggressive, but there are both agreeable and disagreeable extraterrestrials, even amongst what you're calling reptilians or, Anunnaki. Anunnaki is a description of an incident. It's not telling you what each specific being is or looks like. So when people say Anunnaki, unless you have the pictures that we put out to say these are the Anunnakis, or you look at ancient carvings and things like that, you see Anunnaki with dark skin and they're like they're carved on the walls and so on and so forth. But they're different species of Anunnaki. They're different species of reptilians, different species of, there's some beings, like, for example, when you look at the beings from Procyon or Procyon, some people pronounce it, you see they have dark skin Nagaru as well as the blonde hair ones, and they're Nagaru too. You see, so it all depends on what being. Remember, we're talking about a cosmos of gazillions of stars, Milky Ways and galaxies and universes. Like, it's quite primitive and, to be honest, arrogant for people on the planet Earth to think this is the only life form. And when you talk in mainstream media and they start to give you this, we think there could be life on other planets. They were saying it the other day on the news because Obama said extraterrestrial aliens exist. And then they will make it into a joke, or they'll say, the conditions may be possible because where there is water, that bacteria, that means there's life. But they still play it down because it's still not completely transparent, even though steps are being made by way of disclosure. The whole extraterrestrial thing is still not, commonplace, accepted by the masses. But there are more and more people that are not. Remember, years ago, you wouldn't even be able to have a conversation if you mentioned aliens or extraterrestrials, because you will be faced with ridicule and people will just laugh at you and say you're crazy and you've lost it. until the master had to debunk it completely. Like, you're laughing, but then on the other hand, you're telling us that there are beings in your Bible that came from outside the planet and went back to this place called heaven and so forth. So are they extraterrestrials? Because if you go by the definition of the word, they are. So God is an extraterrestrial. Jesus is an extraterrestrial. Gabriel is an extraterrestrial. You know, all of these beings that you're calling angels and gods, they are all extraterrestrials. But then they created beings on the planet, because you get the thing, God created man in his image and his likeness. To be in someone's image and likeness, that means you look like them and you behave like them. That's your nature. So it's like taking a tiger or a lion from its natural environment where it lives as it's supposed to by its nature, and taking it to the city and putting it in a zoo, in a cage, where it's now completely out of its natural environment. So it's gonna adapt, but it still has its nature, which is aggressive. So you have some extraterrestrial beings are aggressive, and they want the energy that comes with that aggression. So when you are aggressive, it's because you're feeding into your aggressive nature, because we also have the both agreeable and disagreeable natures within us. But if you don't manage it, you can feed your reptilian nature because of the reptilian brain and the way you think, and you're more likely to eat things that make you aggressive. You see, so if you're going to go the other way, you're going to adapt and not, be aggressive. You learn to control and be calm and know how to deal with things by controlling. Not saying you don't have it, but you learn how to control that side of your nature. You follow?
Yes.
Any other questions, or is that it?
Okay, so what I'd like to know is that since we have the agreeable and disagreeable nature in us, I'm wondering, like, when the Bible says that God hardened Pharaoh's heart so that he wouldn't let the children of Israel go, you would say that God did something to his spirit. So it's possible that what I'm trying to say is that so the human spirit, our nature, can be altered and changed by other beings, right?
Absolutely. That's what's happening with the world we live in, because you're being influenced, sometimes coerced without even knowing it, because evil is made fair seeming, because that's what it says that the devil and his children, offspring will do. So you're being coerced to, through, say, media, advertising, and, something is made cool when it's not really good for you, the things you put into your body, the places you go, the music you listen to, the things you wear, some of the rituals you partake in without even being aware of what you're doing, and you're giving your energy and you're being distracted constantly doing things that someone else is controlling you by way of the programming, and you're not aware of it. But when you start to wake up and start to study, this is how you start to let go and give off, or let things that don't make sense go. And in our case, right, we have been programmed and been enslaved mentally for thousands of years. For the last 6,000 years, humanity has actually been held captive mentally, and under the spell of Leviathan, under the spell of Kingu, under the spell that makes you have what we call cognitive dissonance, where you can know something makes sense and it's true, but you will fight against it. Because when you go into the science of why you do that, it's because you are composed of 30 generations in terms of your genetics that speak through you. Some of them are agreeable and some of them are disagreeable. And you hear these voices. This is why when you know innately by natural nature that you shouldn't do something, there's a voice you hear that overrides your natural intuition. And then what you will do is do the thing anyway. Like, for example, if I said to you, does it make sense to go to a high place like a mountain and tie a string on your leg and jump off? Does that make sense? Does that sound like a reasonable thing to do?
No.
Right. But then when it's made into recreation, right, we call it bungee jumping, right? In fact, I haven't heard of it for a while, but there was a time where there was a craze where people were doing what they call bungee jumping, which is to tie a string on your leg and jump off a high place, scream and shout. Now, when you first get the thought, you're like, that's crazy. Who wants to do that? But then you hear an inner voice like, go on, it's going to be fun. You know, all your friends, the people that have done it before, you're afraid, but the adrenaline kicks in, you get scared, but then you take it and you take a leap and you do it anyway. Once you've done it once, you kind of become accustomed to it. Now you think it's normal. You normalize it and you think, let me go and do it again and again. But if you jump off and break your neck or like have a major accident, you're going to say like, how stupid. Like, why would I put a string around my ankles and jump off of a cliff? But over time, you override it, you know, because of the voices will normalize it and say, it's okay, go on. It's only once. This is how addictions come about. Because someone will say, go on, have this cigarette, drink, whatever. And you might not like it, but after a while, you silence the voice of reason that's telling you not to do it, and then you reprogram yourself to do it, and then you just find yourself addicted to something. Now your health is going down, you know, you feel bad, but you know, you just suppress it and suppress it and suppress it. But if you really want to change, you will overcome it. You would overcome anything, especially with us, because you know, we have that 9 ether, so we're able to overthrow anything, crack, cocaine, whatever vices. Like, you can snap out of it if you really want. And your ancestors that are on the agreeable side, they will also help you, you know, once you connect with them, work with them, and they will help you from the other side to navigate through this physical life, this physical world that we call life. Yeah, so I hope that's helped you. I trust you.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Grand Rising, Great Rising, Lotus, I am Hiru, Chris Hotep in Riwi. Okay. Greetings, I was wondering, is there any connection between the CYME Emperor and you all have anything to do with each other? We know who he is. We know him. But when you say, do we have anything to do with each other? In what sense? I mean, you would have to ask him. But we focus on Wu-Sabat, on Partner Babyanun and his teachings, and Partner Babyanun's teachings are available for anyone. We've got a call, so I'm going to stop and take that. Greetings, Rahubat, as we say.
They ended it.
They cut it, yeah?
Oh, they're back.
Okay. Rahubat, greetings, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from? And what's your question, please?
Still connecting.
Still connecting, okay.
Cool. Let me call them.
All right. Vanita Bandeli or Bandel Rahubat, and welcome to Team OSM. Desire, or is that Desire? Desiree Rahubat. Oh yeah, I was saying, yeah. Partner Babyanun publishes extensively, and he writes like no one else. And if you know his tone and know his vibration, you know when works come from him. So anyone can read and then do comparative analysis or studies and see what other people are telling you and what they're saying. People will say he says this and then give you their version, but you don't need to do that because he puts it in the scrolls so you can read it for yourself. You know, stop being bamboozled by people that are taking you and telling you different things when you can just read and listen to the master teacher yourself. All right, so that's the best advice I would say to anybody who mentions people, this person, that person. Like, use your eyes, use your ears, use your heart, discern for yourself, and you will know. How can humans reproduce asexually? That's what I'm asking. This is from Nathan. Right. Wait, you have to go and study asexual reproduction because, okay, we've got a caller, so I'm going to stop and take that. Greetings, Rahubat caller. Where are you calling from? What's your name and what's your question, please?
I'm calling from Zimbabwe.
Rahubat.
My name is Tribe Domingo.
Greetings, Rahubat.
Yes.
And
Greetings.
what's your question?
My question is, I've been following your content for quite a while now, so I'm trying to understand what the concept is really about.
So your line is a little bit fuzzy. What did you say? What's the question? I know you said you've been following our content for a while on the channel.
Yes.
What was your question?
My question is, I want to get to understand the basic idea. What is OSM Vision? What does it stand for? And everything involved.
Okay, so OSM Vision stands for Our Souls Matter, because truth is what's going to liberate, and free you, because it tells you the truth shall make you free. So if you want to be free, then you need truth. And the truth we teach come by way of Panabab Yanun, the master teacher, who has written over 1,000 books to basically give us the truth about everything we want to know. And he does that by literally answering any questions that people have. And then he raises you up mentally, and then your mentality, once you've actually start to think properly and reason properly, you start to apply that in your life, and then your actions will show and you will improve your life. Then it continues to take you to the higher learnings of your other beings that you don't really get to learn much about, like your spirit, your soul, your etheric being and so forth, where you come from, why you're here, what's your purpose, etc., etc.
Okay. So how do I get access to these books? What is the starting point?
Okay, so we have a number of bookstores worldwide and communities worldwide. We're going to post the website links in the chat, and you can join our Telegram groups so that you can basically get plugged in to all of the books and the classes, etc., so that you can ask any question you have and learn and grow.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. I think for now I'm good.
You're most welcome. All right. Yeah. So we're talking about for Nathan Gilbert. How do humans reproduce asexually? You have to research asexual reproduction, because sometimes we say things. These are things that are scientifically proven that you can Google and research and study. Okay, caller, what's your name? Where you calling from? Rahubat, greetings. All right, they're gone, yeah? All right. So if you research asexual reproduction, The flag keeps going up. All right, greetings, caller Rahubat. Where are you calling from? What's your name and what's your question today, please?
Rahubat Saken is Sean,
Rahubat.
calling from London.
Tua.
How you doing? You good?
Anuki Kawa Zamal Wu Antak.
Two questions actually. The first one, just on the topic of religion.
Yeah.
So if we go to Genesis, and you know, in the Garden of Eden, right?
Yeah.
And the serpent is telling Eve not to eat the tree of life or the tree of knowledge.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to understand that incident a bit better. So, you know how there was a time when humans were able to communicate with animals mind to mind. So when the serpent is talking to Eve, is that what's happening?
Right. No. Firstly, it's misinformation because it's not a serpent. Okay. The reason they do that is because they turn it into this fear of snakes, because the serpent, the word is not in that passage. They don't use the word serpent. It's a person speaking, and the word is whisperer. You see? So it was somebody that was whispering to her or speaking to her in a low voice, because he was trying, like you said, telling her something that was going against who she believed was God, telling her not to eat of the tree. So it wasn't that. But what you're saying in terms of when you're in tune with nature, yeah, like animals will not be afraid of you, and like trees and plants and things around you can communicate with you. Communication is not only by like words. You know, they made a movie about it with Eddie Murphy called Dr. Dolittle, where he was able to speak, you know, apparently to animals. And they also made a movie called Tarzan, or the series called Tarzan, where apparently Tarzan's able to speak to animals. Well, that's something that, you know, we did. But again, it's all about you being in tune with nature and with animals, because you will see that when you're in tune with nature, you will know when seasons and certain things are taking place. Like when you see birds flying in a certain direction or animals moving in a certain direction, it's because they know something's about to happen, or they are in tune with nature. And so once we're in tune with nature, we'll automatically, like, you will know when it's going to rain before it rains. You know, these are things that we are supposed to be, as animists, we're supposed to be in tune with nature because we come from nature. But this nature has been made by, you know, the disagreeable beings into unnatural nature, where they're trying to like control the weather with all types of, you know, machineries and things. So a lot of nature is being destroyed, and you know, you don't even get, like, for example, if you live in a city, a lot of the times people don't even get the opportunity to be around soil and earth, and, you know, ground themselves and put their feet on natural soil. Or even when they do, they don't realize some of it is all been it's just not it's been designed, but, you know, like just landscaping and things like that. So you know, this is why the words Tamaray, for example, it's not by coincidence. Like, our land was called Tamaray because it relates to the, not only the elements that deal with nature and growth, because you need Ta is dealing with the soil, but it's the fact that we are connected to the soil, and you're supposed to know about the soil, like how to grow food, right? You know, you need to know where the land is fertile and is good soil. And then you have, obviously, water. You know what I mean? Water, you need to have, water is what keeps us alive. But now we're destroying the land, poisoning the waters, and drinking bottled water instead now. And then, of course, the sun. The sun is responsible for life and growth on this planet. But if you're not getting enough sun, then you become, you know, you lack a lot of things, vitamin D, etc., etc. So you have to go back to where your DNA comes from. And once you are, because of the vibration, you automatically just like synchronize with nature, you know. But because you're natural now in terms of you don't really connect with nature. Now, when you go back, say, to the motherland, you get sick because your body is not calibrated to it, and a lot of people get bitten by mosquitoes and stuff like that, and that's because they don't understand that your body, your blood, if you eat a lot of sweet things, like over here, most people are addicted to sugar and salt, and the sugar makes your blood sweet. So when a mosquito bites you, it knows you're not from the local area, you're a foreigner, you're new, so it's gonna go and tell all his friends, boy, you see this blood that I taste today? It's sweet. And then you wake up in the morning and you're covered in mosquito bites because you've been eating too much chocolates and sugar and all of that changes your blood, you see. So when we're in tune with nature is one with us, it doesn't harm us. Go ahead.
That makes perfect sense. Since and my second question, I won't keep you too long.
No problem.
I've got so many questions, to be honest with you. I've got whole notes, but I'll leave it for the next callers and stuff. But my final question is, so like, you know, when we look at like trees and nature, and you can see like there's certain species of trees that may grow to a certain height, or they have a certain lifespan, and then these trees will live to like hundreds and hundreds of years. But us as like human beings, we don't have that same kind of lifespan. Is there like a link between maybe being like a vegan or having an alkaline based diet, or a fruit and vegetable based diet that will enhance that, or enable us to match that kind of same time span? Or is it kind of encoded in our genetics that we can't live past like 120 or 130 that scientists say?
No, you're right. I mean, in the Bible, a lot of the times they give you people that live 900 years and, you know, really long. And that's because, like you say, when we were in tune with nature, and, you know, that's why, again, the whole thing about, you know, eating flesh wasn't something that was designed for us. And yes, you're right. This is why people like Dr. Sabi and a lot of people that nutritionists, they realize that you've got to eat alkaline and be, you know, more in tune with vegetation and the vibration of nature, because nature is alive. But what we've been trained to do, or programmed to do, is we're putting dead flesh and dead foods. We take out all the nutrition from the food, especially if you were using like microwaves, and, you know, we literally eat very bad diets, that we're eating death. It's another way that you can put it, as opposed to eating life. So of course that's going to change it's going to change us. So changing your diet, rest, water, and being in tune with nature is one of the best ways to stay healthy and live. We actually don't die, as you know, because energy cannot be destroyed. But yeah, in a physical, we can live a lot longer that's why they say you are what you eat. So if you're eating death, you're becoming death. If you're not, you're going to be alive. So
sorry to cut you short, was that the difference between Noah or Zirah during that time living? I think it was recorded that he lived 500, 700 years.
Yeah, it was actually 900.
Was it the diet that was the difference, or is it because at some point the Anunnaki intervened and manipulated our genetics to make it so that we couldn't live past a certain age? Or is it a combination of the two?
It was actually a combination of the two. But the thing is that we naturally had something in our blood, right, which people refer to as the elixir of life, which meant that you had eternal life, or you could live longer. And that was mafkuzet, right, which people call monatomic gold, or as I said, liquid gold, or the elixir of life. But there was a reason, there was a way that it had to be activated. And that's where it links into the second part of what you're saying, because in order for that liquid gold, that mafkuzet in your body to work properly, it had to be activated with the pineal gland as well as your pituitary gland, which is all these things. So, and it was in our blood. And this is why, you know, people would, the Europeans especially, the Adamites would dig up our ancestors' tombs and get the bones and crush them to ingest and to get that, you know, elixir of life, to live longer. And today, you know, there are lots of, you know, people talking about, you know, like what some of these reptilians do, because they have to get the blood to be a certain way to give that adrenaline rush. And they talk about adrenochrome and these, you know, this is where some of what's being revealed at the moment is showing you how some of these rituals that people are participating in is because they want to get the blood. A lot of it is about the blood. You see, even a lot of what people are calling like slave trade and stuff, that was about the blood, because when you ingest that, you get that, well, there's a particular way of doing it, and the master teacher is teaching us. This is why it's like teaching about cleaning yourself inside out, and then you will get your pineal gland reactivated, and you know, eventually if you, and it also tied in with the barothry gland, where you're saying that when people became maimed because the Anunnaki removed that part of your, you know, your brain, which the barothry gland worked with the pineal gland, and you know, and they calcified it because they're putting fluoride in the water. They making you eat a lot of things that blocks your higher consciousness to connect, so you can have this eternal life, you know. But those who make it, those who raise themselves in vibration, have the opportunity to have this barothry gland reinserted, and then, you know, they can then turn back on and be able to use, you know, more capacity of their brain, and they're able to access and connect to the higher realms and pull out information from
Got
them.
you.
Yeah.
Got you. No, it makes perfect sense.
Tour.
Makes perfect sense. But yeah, Tao tax them all for your time.
Taka
I'll continue watching the live, and then I may call back again.
Yeah,
at
feel
some
free.
point later on.
All right.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Wadi.
Bye-bye.
Wadi. Okay, let's look at the questions we've got. Did you know that it took 10,000 years for a plant like tomato to get the same nutrients as it does in the nature, like tomatoes, for instance? Well, there's so many different tomatoes now, but the point that can tie into that I didn't maybe mention is the fact that a lot of the trees, because this relates to the previous question, a lot of the trees and plantation and things on this planet are not actually also from here. They were actually transported here when the planet was being terraformed. So some trees are actually extraterrestrial in origin, and so are some insects and certain plants, because the ecology of this planet was damaged and it had to be repaired. So the beings responsible when Nibiru crashed onto Tiamat and then consequently had an effect on this planet, sorry, crashed onto Meldek, but had an effect on Tiamat, which was the name of this planet, you know, it had to be terraformed and left to heal. And so insects and trees and many Aquarian life forms were brought here as well to repair and balance out the ecology of this planet. Now this planet has many atmospheres. This is why it's such a planet of origin that many extraterrestrials sought to, you know, to come and live here, because you've got so many different atmospheres and environments in one, you see, because beings live in the seas, beings live on the land, beings live in the air, beings live on the different you know, spheres, etc. So beings hide outside the planet in, you know, in spots that you can't be seen by the naked eye. You know, yeah, so that's a part of that. So when you look at what you're calling a tomato, they're different ones, and some are dangerous and some are hybrids, because obviously we also then go into the GMOs And you're spoiled now to the point where a lot of the times people don't know what to eat. Like, so many choices of tomatoes, you don't know which one's real and which one is not. The cherry tomatoes are good, but it's like mushrooms as well. You know, there are different types of mushrooms that some are poisonous and some are good for you. So that they've distorted so much things, that they've distorted many things to the point where most people don't know what's good from bad. That's why in the garden, that was the whole point, for your eyes to be open so you know, not believe, so you know good from evil, know good from bad, know what is good for you and what's not good for you. But, you know, with the devil making everything fair seeming, that's the illusion. It's like you're eating something you think is good, but it's actually bad. It's actually scary today because you can't really trust. If you can't trust, excuse me, going, say, to a supermarket and buying food to eat, you know, you're not sure if it's GMO, you're not sure if it's, you know, you don't even know what, it could be anything. It could be human meat, it could be, so obviously, that's a scary thing, like to be able to eat properly. And then the rest of the other things you got to deal with. So, you know, now, even things that you used to think once it said organic, that means something in your mind, but, you know, or say the word halal is written on it. There are many things now that are distorted to the point where you literally don't know good from bad anymore. Until you come into Wu-Sabat, you start to study, do the research, check out the facts, and go on your journey of learning what to eat. Yeah, eat to live, not live to eat. Yeah, I think I kind of didn't finish the a sexual reproduction question, but it's a biological process which basically deals with a single parent producing offspring by cloning. Yeah, so like a single cell. I mean, you can read all about that in the Holy Tablets as well, like, because the Master explains about what you call primary creation and then tertiary creation. So when people say life, you got to go back to before there were the forms of life that you're seeing today. And it evolved over many, 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 many millions of years. So depending on how far back you're going, you know, it allows for rapid reproduction. So it's like taking, yeah, have you ever seen when you got, like say you got one of those bubble making machines, or when you're having a bath, you have loads of bubbles, and you can blow a bubble and it kind of breaks into two bubbles from one bubble. And so that's like a cell that reproduces, and then it's a quick way that it replicates without needing a mate or needing someone else. So when you start to look at how we evolved from the, you know, you have to go back to like when the planet was just like gases, and then those gases formed. And then remember hydrogen, when you look at the first element, it says H1, that's hydrogen. But when you break hydrogen down, you're looking at hydro. So there's water involved, right, in the genes. And so, you know, cells will just split, yeah? And it's like even when you have twins, you say identical twins, is because they basically just, they fuse and they replicate. I'm trying to use a simple word, but reproduce, replicate. Yeah, so when you look at the woman, you have to study how, you know, like reptiles lay eggs, and then the beings kind of hatch from the eggs. Yeah, so when you look at the human, the female, she's also having eggs, but the egg is inside of her. And then when the water breaks, that's when the baby come out. The babies come out of that egg that was in her womb, in her stomach. So when you're looking at, you have to go and look at single cell reproduction. You have to look at baffling, the baffling gland when you're dealing with men. In fact, we have a scroll, actual fact, that goes into this. Who is God, male or female? So get hold of that, and that will give you a lot more information. It's called parthenogenesis as well. When you break the word parthenogenesis, it's spelled like, well, you can hear patar or path, as in part, P-A-R-T. Then Genesis is obviously talking about the beginning, like you said. People say the beginning in that sense, where you're saying that the development of an embryo from an unfertilized egg. Yeah. So insects and reptiles, this is what they do. They're able to have these eggs that are not fertilized, but then life can spring forth from there. So when I'm saying that, if you look at a woman, that's what she's also doing. It's just that it's done on the inside of her womb or stomach and not on the outside, where some reptiles will sit on their eggs and wait for them to hatch. And then that film, that layer that covers the baby, it's like, you know, when you crack an egg, sometimes you see that the white that's covering the inside of the shell. If you don't know about, because a lot of people find it hard to believe that, you know, everybody comes from a woman. But when you start to look at the science and look at, you know, these terms like parthenogenesis and, you know, or the urethra or the Bartholian gland in the man, and look at, you know, the fact that the woman has an XX and the Y of a man is really a maimed X, where one of the stems has been broken off or taken off. So, all right, we've got loads of questions, so I'm gonna leave that one right there for now. But trust that gives you some information to go and research. Yeah, somebody was asking, can you ask questions in the chat? Yes, you can. I'm going through the chat now as I read through the questions. Malibu Baby 4839. Oh, wait a minute. Let me go back. There's a question before that. Gosh, I'm getting so many. Well, let me go back. So, Ken, when the elders get picked, can we have as one, please? You have saved many lives, passing on our master teacher teaching. Oh, well, that's all we're all working for. So yes, that would be great. All right, let's keep going. Where is Asaru? We miss him. Yeah, Asaru, where are you? It's like we've got to start finding Nemo, finding Asaru. Asaru, that people are saying they miss you. Where are you? But no, on a serious tip, Asaru does travel. He was a little bit poorly lately. The last time I spoke with him, he was under the weather, but that was during the time when, you know, people were getting this, we don't know what to call it anymore these days, but flu, cold, whatever. But he's better now. He was doing much better. In fact, when I spoke with him, he was recovering. So yeah, he may make a guest appearance soon now that we've put the energy out. So that was from Brusca Noise. Remember to join the official Wu-Sabat Telegram. Yeah, because it's active. You know, people are asking questions all the time. There's so much information in the group. So join the Telegram group, because it doesn't stop here. It carries on 24/7, 365. People are studying, people are learning, people are transforming. Don't miss out. Join the Telegram group, and then you will always be connected to one of the student teachers that's on the group that will answer your question. We got both male, female teachers in the group, all right? Is our men supposed to have chest hair? This is from Grace and Jockey 8123. When you say our men, I don't know who's our men. But if you're talking about the Nagaru, see, again, this is why we keep mentioning the intervention of extraterrestrials. And I said before at the beginning that the trait of being hairy and having hair comes from a mixture of these beings. Like you hear there's a disease called hirsutism, right? Which a lot of Dravidians have. And that's because when you trace back to their lineage, it goes back to Enkiduite. You know, if you've read the Gilgamesh epic, Enkidu, not Enki, Enkidu was a friend of Gilgamesh, and the Enkiduites, they were beings that are covered in hair. Okay, that also ties in with the shaggy beings from Sirius. Right, we got that book I mentioned before, Bigfoot. Have I got it with me? Yes, but yeah. So depending on your genetics, hair comes from mixing in with these shaggy beans, with these the Dwani beans, with you know all these types of beings. That the tumbling in the genetics ends up with people being more hairy. You see, so naturally no, because if you look at our ancestors, you're gonna end up in the in South Africa with the Sans people. If you look at them, they have literally no hairs on their bodies. Some people don't have any hair on their bodies. So it's when you're going through that process in terms of, like I said, like when you're in your mother's womb, you're a reptilian. Then you evolve into like a grey looking being with a big head and big eyes and a small body. And then obviously we tie into the evolution from coming out of the waters and so forth. But our predominant DNA is going to be of, the Natharu. Those are the genes that we have. So everyone's going to be different depending on their mixture in terms of their family tree and generations. But yeah, naturally we didn't have hair at all. Even when you see Egyptians with what people think is hair, those were just like, what's the word for it? They were artificial, they weren't real, they weren't really hairy beings. But with the mixtures from other beings coming into our gene pool, we started to have hairs on our body. All right, that's for you, Grace. And the next question is, Malibu Baby 4839. How can I figure out my roots as far as culturally, because I don't have any family members alive on my mother's side? I think you meant to say I father was born in Trinidad, then came to the US in his 20s and married. When you say figure out your roots, you've just said that your father was born in Trinidad, so I take it you're Nagaru. But yeah, in terms of trying to figure that out, this is important. We always say, some people don't take what we say when we talk about the unseen world seriously. Like you have ancestors and you have people in your bloodline that have crossed over. Even as you say, you were saying about your members alive. You don't have any family members alive on your mother. They are alive. They're just in the unseen world or in a different dimension and vibration and frequency, which you can connect with and tap into by your intentions firstly, like you want to really know. People don't realize how much your dreams and the things you wake up and do and the things you call eureka moments or a thought, how that may be coming from one of your ancestors that is trying to guide you. You may end up going somewhere, meeting somebody, and we say it's a small world because you meet somebody or they will guide you in some way to find out the information that you're trying to find out. And of course, you can do like the meditation, the rituals, and speak to them, speak to your ancestors, So there must be somebody, like you said, maybe on your father's side, with the right intentions and the right energy behind it. Remember, energy is not destroyed, so they've transformed or translate into a different state, and they still work through you, through your blood, as you know, a member of their DNA pool. So you can definitely contact and speak with them. All right, Chrissy Jones. About a year ago, I disappeared off the road, was placed on another road. Why is using the terminology infinite improper when describing the cosmos, if my question makes sense? It's actually, there's nothing wrong with using that terminology, because you're conveying what you're trying to say. However, it's because of the language. English is the problem, because if you really look at how the spell is put on people, it's through spellings and spellings of words. Because finite, they're saying it's limited, yeah? And then if you put the word in in front of that word, finite, then you're now saying, are you inside of it? But they say, no, that means there is no end. But how do you know that? It's like the word infinity, right? Infinity is supposed to say it goes on and on and on and on and on. But you don't know that. But it explains what people are saying. They're basically saying we get to a point where we don't know. That's it. We don't know. So maybe it's carrying on, but we don't actually know. Because when you start to look at space, space is not empty, which sounds crazy to some people, right? Space, matter, and time, they are a union or triunion. They can't do without each other. So when you say that, the cosmos is a good word, but really we have to learn our language and speak our language so that we use the terminology in our language that makes sense, because it's a tone, vibration as well, and frequency. So we'll say pa'ut, pa'ut, they're all expanding. That makes more sense. Okay, next question, D-Tech Whitehead. Rahubat OSM family, keep scholaring, heavyweight scholaring, Crystal City crew, get ready for the takeoff. Appreciate love your comment, your kind words. Thank you very much for reiterating our natures. No problem. Na'ut Shakal. D-Low Bay 5876. Greetings. I was wondering, is there any connection between the... Oh, yeah, we've covered that. Nathan, I'm so happy that I saw you today on here. Tell me, how do animals use a sexual... You say introduction. How can human... Oh, yeah, we've covered that as well. Virgin Island, Rahubat 7326. Rahubat Moisa, much ashok and peace and unity. Free Dr. Malachi ZK, you're watching from Florida. Each one, reach one, teach one. 1000%. Next one. Okay, cover that. Okay, someone is adding. Yeah, earthworms, fish, and other life forms. Yeah, do it as it was the first beings. They had to do it that way to reproduce. Exactly. You know what's amazing though? When you get affirmation or right knowledge, the people that are the skeptics or people that might say it is not that or this, like when you ask them to give you the version that they know, it's gonna go back to the textbooks of what they've been taught by way of the Mukasu or Europeans for the last, Adamites for the last 6,000 years, you know, because they don't really know. They will talk about theories, a Big Bang theory, You know, so yeah. But there's some facts in science that you can still research and find out there. But we have to always tell people that the master teacher is an extraterrestrial from, you know, so far ahead that some of the things he teaches, he has to bring it down in terms of to our level for us to understand. But he's always waiting for those who are ready or raising their vibration to the point where they can be given much in-depth breakdowns of certain things. And he said there's going to come a time where you won't be able to go and check it out because it's not from this planet. It's going to go beyond the books that you can go and check your dictionaries and your, you know, your AI and Google and so forth. All right, we have a live caller. Rahubat, greetings caller. What's your name? Where you calling from? And what's your question, please?
They muted themselves.
You got to unmute yourself. All right.
I'm sorry about that.
Okay.
My question for today is, it's kind of might be a little confusing to ask. I'm aware that there's supposed to be a lot of, I would say, different, I would say, events that are supposed to take place from right now to 2030. Mm-hmm. And I just want to ask, what should I potentially try to do to like improve myself and to get more prepared for all that to come, if that makes sense.
All right. I mean, firstly, depends where you are.
In DC, sir.
Okay.
I'm in DC.
Right. Okay. We have a community in DC. So I would attach yourself. I would say go and attach yourself to the community. Start to, you know, learn and read and be amongst them because they will know what to do when the time comes. But in the meantime, the reading will help you to like. I don't know what your diet is like. I don't know what your lifestyle is like. But you know, start reading.
I go to the gym pretty often. Throughout the weeks, I take a lot of herbs. I take chlorophyll. I take a lot of stuff.
Okay.
I do eat meat, but not like hard meats. I do eat stuff. I would say sort of like at times I might maybe eat like maybe grilled chicken, maybe like some tuna here and there and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's a start
fruits, vegetables.
To work your way away from it. But yeah, I mean, we're all work in progress. No one is there to like, you know, judge anybody, but it all depends on how much people want to improve. And
yes, sir.
Yeah, so the first thing is attach yourself to a community and start to work from the inside out and, you know, see how you can help because it's each one teach one. What do you bring, you know, to the table and what you can then also get from being amongst the community. So that's the first step. All right.
Okay.
If you can't find the community or you find that it's too far away from you or whatever, you can still participate online and be, you know, a member of a community so you can contribute and do things as well. Because we all have to pull our weight together to prepare and make the world we want to live in. So, all right.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Okay. That about covers it. I was really concerned about that. And I have one question. I think I may have asked you.
Okay.
I've been doing numerous amount of research and everything that I've been led to, I would say, overstand. The person that is, I would say, in control of this world, this realm, would be Enlil, correct?
Yeah, he has the biggest influence over this world. That's correct. But it's more Nana, who is his son now.
His son?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, just curious, does he go by the name Yahweh by any chance?
Yes, great question. He does. you see, what happens, they go by many names, and these names are actually titles or descriptions when you're reading it from the language. So when you say,
Okay.
when you're saying Yahweh, in the Hebrew, that is kind of two beings put together in one. Yah is agreeable, which this is
Okay.
what became Jah, and then Way is disagreeable, which becomes your seraphim and your cherubims, and you're the two sides basically of everything. But yes, so he is known by many, but sometimes they share the same name as well, or titles. You see,
Okay.
so sometimes it can be confusing because you have like Tarnush, who would be, he'll be
The
called,
father,
yeah,
Halo.
exactly, and he'll be
Okay.
like, he'll be called Humbaba, he'll be called the devil, he'll be called, but when you break the words down, depending on the language you're breaking it down from as well, it's a description of what they're doing or their characteristics. So, yeah, so
Okay.
you'll see like, when you say Elohim, for example, people don't immediately see that as a plural. But what it is a hierarchy. So you have the Els, then you have the Elo or Elo, and then you have the Elohim or Elohim, and then you have different names like you're saying Yahweh, Adonai, El Shad, Baal.
Mm-hmm.
But they're the same names for the same being sometimes, or like a father and son will have the same names as well. So in the English is what gets confusing, because say for example, someone will say Jehovah, and there are being called Yahwehans, because there's no J's or V's in Hebrews. You can't make up the word Jehovah. You'll have to say the J is a Y. So you get the
Why?
Yah, yeah, which becomes Jah when you add the J. And then when you start to look at Arabic and Hebrew, it's this is how the trick comes in, because like if you look at the word, say Jesus, which is J, it's
Mm-hmm.
really Gamel, which is a G. So if you put gases and then took the J sound,
Mm-hmm.
and then took the G sound and put the J sound, you get, oh sorry, the other way around, gases. But you take that and put the J, you get Jasses, or it becomes Jesus. You see, and then it becomes a worship of a spirit or a ghost.
Okay.
Yeah, so the language is so key in being able to know which being are we talking about. When you're saying bow in the Bible, it then ties into cannibal, or the beings that are cannibals, and they like flesh and blood. You see, but you got Enlil and Enki, and
Mm-hmm.
the beings that have the L's on them are loyal to Enlil, and the ones that have the Ja are loyal to Enki. You see, so there's a lot of distortion going on to the point where people get confused. But get an etymology online or dictionary, and really just like use the Strong's Concordance and look at the meaning of the words, each word, because
Okay.
it says like, in the New Testament, in the beginning was the word, right? So the word, you have to know the word, because if you don't know the word, how are you going to make up the sentence, and how are you going to make up the paragraph, and then to understand the book? So yeah, studying is very, very important. All right.
Okay. If I may, I have just one more brief question. This is about, I would say, maybe me.
Okay.
And that's it. I'm not going to ask you no more questions.
That's all right.
um, so this is a question I've been wanting to ask for a while. This is about me. When I was a kid, I used to have a lot of wild dreams, I guess you could say. Some dreams were about, I would say, ancient Egypt. It was about stuff inside of like the pyramids. And I'm talking when I was, I would say, a kid. This is long before I learned anything about Egypt. I would have dreams about machines, Just a lot of wild dreams. And as of 2016, I kept having recurring dreams about craft coming out the sky. It was long cigar-shaped craft.
Right.
And then I also had another dream. This was back 2018 or so. It was extremely odd. A whole lot of flames were coming from the sky, and people were just But as for me, I was okay, and I remember in the dream I was confused. I was like, "Why am I okay? Like, what's happening?" And I've been having dreams like that throughout most of my life, and I'm just curious, what does that mean exactly, if you may know?
Okay, so we don't go into your personal experiences in terms of your dreams, because
Okay. Yes, sir.
that's for you. However, in our doctrine, we're very much aware that when you're still a child, you're still connected to the spiritual realm, and you're able to visit and have, yourself go like to different dimensions, different places, and so forth, and messages may be relayed to you for you
I
to.
used to tell my mom that as a kid. I mean, to cut you off, when I was a kid, I used to tell my mom a lot. I remember my life before this life, and she was like, "What?"
Right.
And I would have dreams of a lot of stuff that I'm I I think it took place way before this life.
Right.
And it's always just really confused me.
Yeah, I mean, we reincarnate here many times, and so that's again in our doctrine, in our affirmation, that
Yes, sir.
you've been here many times, and so in your journey you will learn, and reading the scrolls by the master teacher will help you to put the pieces together, and then you will work it out for yourself. But the things you talk about are not uncommon to us. Many people share experiences. So yeah, I would say, do what I say in terms of connecting with more people that are of like mind in the community, and start to study, and you'll find out a lot more by just connecting with a master teacher by way of the scrolls. All right.
Okay. All right. And thank you so much, sir.
You're welcome. All right. Okay, let's keep going with the questions. I don't know if this is a question. I mean, why do they need my DNA when they travel to any point and take any of my DNA for my star program that happens England, and why do they scatter my DNA? The question is very convoluted and a bit confusing, but I mean, it's like, why do scientists take, any lab rat or any animal and take their DNA to do experimentation? This is another thing as well. A lot of people that are trying to go to websites and, places like Ancestry and all of that.com, and places where to find out who you are, where you're from, and so forth, you have to remember this is also a bank where they're collecting DNA, and it's like a database where you can search and find certain people's DNA that may be needed or be required for something. It's like, for example, if somebody needed a particular type of blood transfusion, if they've got a record of a database, they can quickly find, especially with AI now. I mean, AI is actually starting to be utilized in the medical field to do a lot of things. So I'm just saying, be mindful that you're giving away your DNA code, and you can be utilized and cloned or whatever. So I'm saying it all depends on the reason why you may have particular, special DNA or something in your blood that they need. Okay, that now you're going into a lot of your personal stuff. So okay, that's not a question. Let me keep going. Okay, another thing I will mention for the people in the chat, be mindful that, you know, there are other people that are saying things to you in the chat that is not what we teach, and that, you know, if they've got a platform and they're going to give you their doctrine, go to their platform, because people do have this thing where they like to, well, distract is one thing, and take you off on a tangent. Okay, let's see. Any other questions? Okay. Okay, I think this is a decent question. In church, this is from Antonio Pedro Sebastian, I think. In a church, can a sixth ether being bishop pray and guide spiritually a nine ether being? I would love to hear more about the green light and the spiritual awakening. Some people can see living lights. I mean, yeah, I mean, you have, in churches, you have bishops and all types of, I mean, it tells you about this in Matthew when it talks about false Christ and false prophets and so on and so forth. So some of these preachers and bishops and so on are able to be utilized by some of these six ether forces or some six ether extraterrestrial beings and so forth to perform what one may call miracles, because that will make them get other people to follow them in a bigger congregation. So it is possible for them to do certain things, but not, when you say spiritually guide a nine ether being, a nine ether being that is going to reduce themselves to be guided by a six ether being is clearly misguided. And that's what's happening, that a lot of people are going to church to worship and be guided by six ether forces, which are reducing them in vibration and then feeding off of their energy, where they think is the other way around. But they are actually feeding the lower vibrational beings with their nine ether. So when you say you would like to hear more about the green light is a healing energy, healing light. Because remember that frequency vibrations are interchangeable from light to sound, from sound to light. Okay, so the green light is a glitch. Because if you look at the main colors, the primary colors, yep, they're right here. You can see red, yellow, and blue. Green is not there, so it's a glitch color. You have to mix to get that. But when you look at vegetation, you look at everything around you that's green, it's because it's a green light. If you know how to channel it and draw it, you can heal yourself. Okay, and we do get that information in the Science of Healing by the master teacher, Dr. Malachi Z.K. Yorkpa Nababianun. The spiritual awakening is happening. It transcends people, places, and things, meaning that it doesn't matter who you are on the planet. If you have, but it's happening now more for the Nagaru, because everybody else has had their own warners and their own teachers that have come along, right? And this is what's so ironic. It's like, if God is made in your image and likeness, that means God has to reflect you, how you look. And every other race has had somebody, like when you look at Europeans and you look at Christianity, and you go back to the roots, it's going back to the Greeks and from Zeus. And so it's no coincidence that, you know, the Jesus that you have predominantly in the West, it's going to have the long shoulder length hair, maybe, you know, blue eyes, etc. So that is a Caucasian European looking type of Jesus in their image and their likeness. You see, you go on to other races, they will also have beings or deities in their image and their likeness. It's our race that there's a problem. If I say, why can't I have Jesus in my image and in my likeness? My Jesus is going to be different to your Jesus. If we want to use that term, just to keep it simple, even though we know that the stories of the person you're calling Jesus are borrowed stories from ancient cultures going predominantly back to ancient Egypt. And then it went into the Sumerians as, Egypt being Osiris, Isis and Horus, the Greek versions of their true names as Asar, all right? Ashtat and Ha or Hara, okay? So that goes into the Sumerian as the Muzi and Tammuz and Ishtar, gets watered down all the way into Christianity as God the Father, God the Son,
Hello?
and then they're going to a ghost. All right, caller, Rahubat. What's your name, where you calling from, and what's your question, please?
Okay. My name is, I'm calling from Zambia.
Tua. Mm-hmm. You're calling from
Okay,
Zambia?
so, yes. So my question is, how can one identify his or herself or know his or herself and to move in a direction of one's energy and vibration?
Okay, that's why we are here, Wu-Sabat, and studying and getting to know yourself and knowing who you are, not what you've become. So you need to know your real, like heritage, your roots, and the essence of your true being. And you learn that through studying Wu-Sabat. And you'll know what your purpose is. Is that it?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
So when hello?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm listening.
Yes, I have another question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Who are we? Are we just beings, or we were just creation from other beings, or what?
I mean, it's a complex question. When you say who are we are multiple dimensional beings. And yes, of course, physically, you have a physical part of you, but you have an essence that is not physical, goes into your, people talk about your spirit, your soul, the etheric you. So you're more than just a physical, but you just haven't learned or been taught about that aspect of your nature or who you really are. That's why I said you have to start off first getting to know who you are. And in knowing who you are, you'll know who we are, because then we start to align with like-minded beings and understand what's gone on in the world in the last 6,000 years, but even before that. So it's all it's how much you want to learn. But people will say we're gods and goddesses, but those terms can be interpreted in so many different ways. And so that's why I'm saying you need to really start to study, to learn about who you really are, and then you take it one step at a time from there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when can I start learning?
You started.
On that?
You're here. You're now learning, but the questions you ask will lead you to get the information and the books that will help you to really get into the subject matter. Because on the lives, obviously, we're answering so many questions, but we have a community. We've posted a Telegram group. Join the Telegram group, and then keep asking questions, because we have to be like babies again, because you've been given lies and misinformation for so long, you know, people are craving the truth. And this is the era and the time for the truth. The truth has no associations or, you know, it's not attached to any one person. The truth is the truth. You either,
Exactly.
you know and accept it or not, but it doesn't stop being the truth. So it's really about knowing the truth. No matter who you are, the truth will help make you free. But it does start
Exactly.
from you first, wanting to know. All right?
Okay.
Okay.
And the Telegram, are you using an email or it's just a website?
Oh no, it's just a social media app. You can just download it like it's like WhatsApp.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So once you have it on your phone, you click that link and you can join our group.
Oh, okay.
All right. Oh,
All
thanks,
right. Thank you.
Nathan.
I'm looking.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thanks. Nathan, thank you for your kind words. I love this teacher. He's awesome. You guys are awesome too. It's the questions that make the content. Why was Egypt vandalized and why was it so powerful? Yeah, it was vandalized because of the beings that invaded, but it was only a part of it. This is where, again, when you start to study Egypt, you find out that, you know, they teach you about the dynastic periods, like the 46 dynasties, but they kind of only take you on a particular path and teach you about a time when a part of Egypt was basically ruled by the beings that came in. They were referred to as the Hyksos, which means the Hyksos dynasty. When you go and look at the Hyksos and study the Hyksos dynasty, you're talking about beings that came into Egypt from, you know, what you refer to them as like the Phoenicians and Europeans. That if you go and study, you see that Khufu, which was one of the pharaohs, he actually opened up or broke the immigration rules where they weren't allowed in, but he opened the floodgates, and then different beings came in and started bringing their culture and influencing the beings that were in what you're calling Egypt. And over time, you know, people started to follow these foreign ways, and that's what happened. And what ended up happening is that if you know about the 25th dynasty with Akhmos and his brother, they then drove the Hyksos out. They drove them back out. But this is where, when you study history or whatever at school, they pick certain characters that they teach you about. You know, they will teach you about Cleopatra. They will teach you about Nefertiti, or they will teach you about, you know, Alexander the Great and certain people, but these people only ruled a small part of Egypt for a specific period of time. You see, so yeah, it's not the entire Egypt, but today, obviously, it's the ruins that you're seeing, but even the ruins are still so great to people that are trying to decipher who these original beings were that built the pyramids, that were so powerful. And the reason they were so powerful is because of their ancestry going back to the beings, our ancestors that we call the Natharu, that came from like the Orion star constellation and the Sirius or Sirius star constellations. They brought their culture down to the planet. That's why the pyramids were built. That structure of a pyramid in terms of architecture is very mathematical and very sound and stable in terms of vibration and frequencies that it gives off. You know, it emanates tachyon energy, right? Which is like the standard column of waves that we call the double helix. And it's aligned to the stars or the Orion's belt, which is telling you where they came from. You see, so these beings were very advanced. That's why they were so powerful, because they have technology and knowledge, and they basically civilized the whole planet. That's why everybody was going to Egypt to learn. Even the Greeks, you know, all of them. With Alexander, they say the Great, but he was a great thief because he stole a lot of the knowledge. And then they burnt the libraries. And then you have, you know, Socrates and Aristotle and all of their philosophers. They were taught in Egypt, but they were only given a small part of knowledge, and they were given what we refer to as the lesser mysteries. Then you look at your religious books, everyone that is of prominence: Moses, Egypt; Abraham, Egypt; Joseph, Egypt; Jesus, Egypt. Everybody went to Egypt. They fled to go to Egypt when they were having problems, when there were famine. There was a famine, or when like Herod the Great, so they call him, was trying to unalive the young children, boys. And it kind of relates to a question that was asked earlier on. I didn't get to finish it because we got distracted by another call, when he was saying God hardened the heart of the Pharaoh. If you really look at that, God looks very weak, because he sets up these situations or scenarios where he comes out looking like a hero. But if you're using nine mind, nine ether, Wu-Sabat, wu-nuwapu, the way we think, it's like, if God is thinking backwards, it's like, why would you say run away from Herod and go and hide, when all you have to do is get rid of Herod or change his mind? Do you know what I mean? Why set it up so you look like you've done something when you haven't done anything? You see what I mean? Like, the spell is so effective for those who are still asleep, because it makes things that are simple look complicated. So, you know, like, it's like if you said to somebody, you're worshipping a ghost. In Jamaica, like, they will probably say, yeah, I worship Doppy. It's like, people are scared of ghost, but when you say ghost spell or gospel, it sounds nice when you make it, oh, the gospel. But you're not hearing ghost spell. It's a spell of worshiping a ghost that you can't prove exists. But people tell you, yeah, he's real, he exists. You know? It's like, come on, wake up. And it's the same, like, why would you harden the Pharaoh's heart to make it look like you've done something? Like, why not just change his heart and make him a good person? You see, so yeah, I'm just saying that to say that the Egyptians, the true Egyptians, were very powerful because they were connected to the Natharu, or their ancestors who came from Orion and Sirius and the stars. That's us today. And we're just waking back up, and a lot of people now, like, why can't I have Jesus? Well, now, well, you know, you saw Russia and certain people are telling you, oh, this is the real image of Jesus, and how he looked, melanated, nine ether, woolly hair, because the description is in the Bible. It tells you like his feet like burnt brass, his hair's like, you know, wool, and his voice is raspy, like of many waters. His eyes are red. Now you look at that description and tell me who. But it doesn't even matter these days, because again, it's not about the racism, but we're saying that facts are the facts. If you want to know the truth, just tell the truth. Don't make it as if I say, I want a Jesus, I want a Jesus in my image and my likeness. Why can't I have one? If you say I can't have one, then that's some racist thing, because I've had yours all these years, for thousands of years, you know. The whole world was subjected to the blonde hair, blue eye, Caucasian looking Jesus for years. So now we say, okay, let's have a go, let's have our turn. And you say, no, you can't. Well, why not? Are you special? What makes you more special than me? So everyone has got God or Jesus in their image and likeness, because everyone is a God according to their ancestry. So you can say, you know, the Greeks, they had gods. They had you know, you can say Alexander the Great, or even like these beings were referred to as Greek gods. You see, so when you say like Mark Antony was a Greek god, like according to their system, okay, and so they had a child with Cleopatra, so he would have been the son of God in that sense. But then we go to our culture and our ancestry, and we have Hara and Ashtar and Osiris or Asar, right? We've got a live caller, Rahubat. Greetings, as we say in our language, Rahubat. What's your name, where you calling from, and what's your question for today, please?
Rahubat, Dre, calling from America, South
Hey,
Carolina, to be
Dre.
specific.
How you doing?
Always good, can't complain. Just continuously learning and spreading this information
Tua.
just through the teachings that y'all been teaching and just taking it in. I had two, maybe three questions. One of the questions was in Americas. Originally, were the Moors here in the Americas first, and then did they, I guess, travel overseas to Africa and the UK, and did they come back to the Americas and trick the Aboriginals or the non-ether beings that were living in here and put them into bondage and allow the Slavics to come and take control that they brought with them from the Caucasus Mountains?
Okay, so the thing is, when we say Moors, right, they're the same people that were on both sides. And what ended up happening with the continental drift and everything is that the original, their family, but they were separated by long distances. So what they had to do now is learn how to go back by using the currents. So if you look at the story of like Mansa Musa, yeah, and his brother, this is what that is about, because they were navigators and they knew how to travel using the currents back to the Americas. The separation and the words, when you look at the origins of what people, especially like Atlanta today, right? The word Atlanta comes from Utla, okay, which was to vacate. The Greeks then added the tis to it, and it became Utlantis or Atlantis. So you have these Moors that were, and again, there are two types of Moors, as with everything. You have the true original Moors, like I said, who were descendants, and they were already on the side of America. Then you had those that were on the side of what we call Africa today. But Africa was one landmass known as Ganawa, okay, which today is Ghana. And that's why they were saying the enclosed garden is called Gan. And then outside of the garden, the outer garden, where the beast of the field was roaming. But don't want to digress. So, yeah, so these navigators, like, as I said, if you look at the story of Ben York, okay, look at the stories of, I said, Mansa Musa, these were beings, they were Malian originally, that came over to the Americas. And then you had what they called a slave trade, where you had these other Arab-sized beings who came by way of the emirs, right? This is where the word America comes in, because you have the emirs that were of these Arab influence through like the Ottoman Empire and so on, that they came, and they were now known as Morenos, okay? Not, because the word Moors, if you start to research it, it comes from, you know, different roots. So you had like the ones that converted, the ones that were from the Arabs became the Moors, known as the Morenos, tying into Morocco, right? This is why they, they have the fez. The original ones, they didn't wear the fez. You see, they wear like the red fez because there's a city in Morocco called Fez. But you also had the true ones that wore what we call the tarbush. Okay, this is what we used to wear. It's a slightly longer. So there are two types of Moors. One is from the Negroids or the original where we say Negra, okay, where we say Nagaru or Negroid comes from. When you start to look at the words that describe what they call black people, you have three main words. As I said, morenos, you have negra, and then you have melanin or Milan, where like Italy today the city is called Milan, but that comes from the melanin or the word melanin from, again, being dark. So now when you come to the Americas, as you said, you had what we called like the house slaves, and then you had the field slaves. It's the same principle when you're dealing with the Moors that sold out, that were Arabicized, that were, basically under the Arabs. And this is where, by the time you get to like, let's say, Noble Jew Ali, because if you watch and look at Noble Jew Ali in the Moorish Science Temple, he's wearing the fez, but he has like a kind of a tarbush, but they were still influenced by these Arabs. This is why, even though they were teaching about the Moors and so forth, they didn't know the language and they didn't know like the Arab influence. So the whole of the Moorish Science Temple is actually, its foundation is built on, Arabs. It's the same with the Nation of Islam. When you look at the being that they looked up to and they call God in the flesh, yeah? And
Right.
you look at the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and, both of these, they were called a voodoo temple, and it ties back to the Arabs. So when you start to look at their doctrine and their foundation, a lot of it fell apart because of the fact that it was a religious influence, you see. So yeah, so it was the other way around. And then those original Moors, they then traveled around because they were navigators, and like you said, they came to Europe. They were in Yorkshire and certain places where they settled, but they were used because they were very knowledgeable and they knew how to, travel and use ships and the currents and so forth. I know I've gone a little bit long, but yeah. So
Were they tricked to do that? The do the enslavement? Were they being
Yeah.
controlled, or they just made a choice to do that?
Yeah, because they're mixed in with them. It's a very similar story to the so-called slave trade, because like they used to produce children, right? With these Arabs and these Europeans would produce children with the Nagarus, and they became termed the mulatto. Yeah, that's why
Right.
when you look at a lot of the Americans, like when they were dealing with like perming their hair, and when it got into the music business, you look at people like, even if you look at the Nation of Islam, a lot of the people, they're kind of like more light in complexion, the people that are at the top.
They're all light skinned with curly hair, or they got their
Exactly.
hair relaxed or something with a jerry curl.
Yeah, exactly. And when you look at that goes back to these mulattoes, which is, the mixture between the same thing that they did with the witches and, getting the slaves to have offspring from these six ether beings to produce these mulatto children. Because what it is that when you look at most of our organizations and the ones that get toppled down, is because it's infiltrated from the inside because of the DNA and the genetics. So just because somebody looks like you doesn't necessarily mean that they think like you or they have that mentality. So a lot of the interbreeding was for that purpose, to get those genes into our, into our blood and our DNA. So when organizations are toppled, or it's normally from the inside out, because of these beings that still, I guess, more kind of like lean towards the you know, their bloodline in terms of those beings are within them.
They would lean towards more the unagreeable side.
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah.
Okay. The other question I had was pretty much the like we had at least maybe 4 or 5 great resets as of where the earth was so-called flooded.
Yeah.
Solomon and Gomorrah got burned down. Those were actually what the results of the war between Enki and Enlil and the disagreements. And that's what kind of was resetting every time, like history or wiping out the people during that time. And they had to continue to start over and rebuild.
Yes.
Same thing with the Tower of Babel.
Yes, this is what we call conflict of the gods, and we have a actual book called Conflict of the God, which is available right now, because a lot of the destructions and stuff on the planet, or many structures that were abandoned, were because beings were warring with each other, and sometimes they had to escape and just leave and abandon projects, and some of the weapons that they used were that bad, and some of it was meteorites as well, and wars are still going on right now. I mean, you're seeing footage at the moment online where you will see something taking place, an extraterrestrial craft will just come and basically just disarm the missiles, or you know, like just stop it. So you're right, a lot of the destruction was based on the conflicts of the gods, or the wars of the gods, and the weapons, these weapons that they had. Just like the shield depleter that, if you studied and know about Kingu, right? Kingu also, he fired a weapon that caused this. And sometimes it was accidents, like in the case of, you know, Nibiru veering off from hitting Neptune and then hitting Meldek, and then trying to, you know, station the craft, hit Tiamat. Remember, these are massive, big crafts. Like our planet itself is a craft. The moon is a craft. It's just the way you view a craft may be different. It's just a craft that's traveling in an orbit, and the distance it takes can take millions of years or thousands of years. And when that craft come back around, then certain things take place. Like, you know, people are saying, oh, the return of Nibiru and so on and so forth. It's because it's done, you know, it's traveling in what they call a Shah, which I think is 3,600 years, if I'm correct. I can't remember exactly, but I think I'm right. But it used to be a longer distance than that. All right?
Okay. My last final question. Is it true that majority of the figures that we're given to look up to, let's say like, since this is Black History Month, Martin Luther King, Harriet Tubman, and stuff like that, Jesse Jackson, they were really paid agents that were being controlled by those 6 ether beings and stuff like that to keep us distracted?
Yes, you're right. And unfortunately, that's a controversial subject that people don't want to talk about. And a lot of the times they meant well or started off well, but along the line either got influenced knowingly or unknowingly. And it's happening today. It's worse today because now they can take somebody out of circulation and lobotomize them or clone them, or do you know what I mean, and then put them back in circulation. But it's becoming more and more obvious now, where people can see and like, that's not Diddy, that don't look like the Diddy that we know, or that's not, do you know what I mean, this person or that person. And the technology is now not that great, because with high definition and with like AI and so on, now you can see through the games that they used to play many years ago and you wouldn't even realize. And if you look at those beings like we're talking about, as much as some people, and it may be controversial, but we have to tell you the truth, as much as these leaders, as I said before, they did their thing in their time, but they couldn't really take you all the way, because they weren't equipped, they didn't know the language, they were still like under a kind of a religious influence, whether it's Markham or whether it's Martin. You're looking at Arabs and you're looking at Christianity. So as much as what they were teaching would help the people, but if you went down the road, because one of them was kind of representing like, you know, we're not turning the other cheek. We're gonna, by any means necessary, we're gonna, you know, weaponize, and that was, in a way, not gonna be successful, because you can't fight and become a devil when your nature is not of that. So you can try your best and mimic it, but like the master teacher said in one of the recordings, you know, the devil will make you eat that AK-47 because you don't produce the bullets or the weapons. So how are you gonna go against a being that produces the weapons and the bullets? So that's one that was trying to say, okay, we've had enough, by any means necessary. Then you got one that was passive, saying, kumbaya, let's hold hands, let's unite, let's all be peaceful. And then you still had the troubled Adamites that were like, nah, once he started to get too much influence, they were like, nah, he's got to go too. But the thing is, he was okay up until the point when he started to talk economics and give him back.
Right.
You know what I mean? But, you know, if you really study, he went to his last speech about going to the mountaintop. That was a complete...
Well, he said he lured his people into a burning building.
There you go. And like he went and he saw certain things and was given certain information, which I'll go on to another time. But wow, somebody's just written a whole dissertation for a question. Yeah, so people don't want to talk about, you know, their, what we would call where they went wrong. Like even Malcolm, you know, he went to Hajj and when he went to Mecca, came back, and he was a completely different person. You look at Nelson Mandela as well. He was in prison, came back, lobotomized. He was a completely different person. You look at Marcus Garvey. You know, he spoke and talked about Africa and had ships to go to Africa, but he never stepped foot in Africa. You know, we can go on and on and on. And like, as much as they did great works, and we're not going to undermine their contributions, but they could not take us all the way with the full truth and nothing but the truth. It had to wait for Pana Babyanun, the master teacher, to come, because one, he's not basing anything on the foundation of religion, but he had to walk us through that and teach people to come out of that spell, and then dealing with the facts. He's a linguist, he knows all the languages, dealing with the science, dealing with our true way of life as wu-nuwapu or nupu, and dealing with the science of nine ether. So this is why he's now able to give us and answer all questions and take us to, you know, to the end. And that's why we're here. And you also, if you want that, you've got to join us and do the works. You know, it's not easy work, but it has to be done. The truth has to be told to the world, and that's the way we're going to be free. All right.
Okay. So, thank you.
And Katia for Jamal Wadu. All right, let's get back to the questions in the chat. Yeah, listen, Vivian, Maya, yeah, you're doing too much. Like, you've written like a whole chapter, not even a paragraph. If you want to speak with us and speak about some of the things you're talking about, if this is marketing and advertising for you, because I can see you're putting WhatsApp numbers and email addresses and all kinds of stuff, like you're doing too much. Ask a question and we will help you. Okay, we got another caller. I think they've hung up. We'll just see if they're going to call back, and we'll take that question and then go back to the questions in the chat. Henrik in the house. Rahubat Moisa Rashuk. All right. Did we get him back?
It's just ringing him now.
All right.
Yeah, Rahubat.
Rahubat. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's your question, please?
I'm Geb. I'm calling from London. My question is about the late Jesse Jackson. I heard what the brother was saying. I heard people saying, for example, was Jesse Jackson part of the plot to assassinate our brother, Dr. King?
Okay.
Yeah, so I just want to know whether that was true or not, because there's no proof or evidence about it.
I mean, that would be people within, like you say, like the nation and the organization and FBI and so forth. But the thing is, when you look at any of them, whether it was Markham, Dr. King, Jesse Jackson himself,
Yes.
when he tried to run for presidency, obviously, he didn't get in, and he actually looks like one of these mulatto children we were talking about previously. But
Yes.
we're not going to be here speculating because we don't have the facts of whether he was or whether he wasn't. But at the end of the day, right now we can't really be focusing on those things of the past. We got to focus on now, because
Exactly. That's what I was saying, because I know Jesse Jackson, for example. He also met the master teacher, also with the late Jimmy Cliff.
Yes, that's right.
And Jimmy Cliff was part of the organization, dare I say.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So the reason why I asked this question, because somebody was communicating with him on the issue of Jesse Jackson, because we heard that he passed away
Right.
sadly today. So
Condolences.
I'm just asking, he was saying he was also part of the plot because he was next to Dr. King when Dr. King was assassinated. So I was saying I have no proof of that. So I said, well,
I mean, it's something that I've heard about, and like I said, speculation, rumors, whether it's facts or not facts.
yes,
The point remains, like, we live in the now. We've got to focus on now. There are many things happening now that we should be dealing with, But of course, I said before also, they always use us to infiltrate ourselves, and some people will go on a payroll, like even with the master teachers situation. You got people that were working for the FBI, working for
That's right.
for riches, and thinking they were gonna get this and that, getting movie deals and book deals and all kinds of stuff. And it's a shame because it's the same script that is played over and over and over again.
yes.
So we got to realize that our adversaries, they don't want to see you unite. They don't want to see us come together and be successful. But unfortunately, nature has its way, and it's that day and time. People are waking up worldwide, regardless. Humanity in general needs to upgrade and needs to know the truth so that we can evolve to a
That's right.
galactical, federation in terms of, being able to be amongst these extraterrestrials, and then they can actually show themselves and work with us. And they're doing it already, but it's been done in secrecy. It's been done with, like the higher echelon of society.
Yes.
But
Yes, we know about the Malcolm X as well, the involvement of the, the system. And we also know about, what's going on. The thing about Jesse Jackson, I don't have no proof. So that's it. So, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I mean, these things make good conversation in barbershops and just people having competition against each other, and it's just a
so
lot
what's your own opinion? Was there a plot from Jesse Jackson, or is just hearsay?
Listen, Wu-Sabat, we don't get involved in all of that. We don't give opinions, and we teach facts. And when you're on the inside, you will get certain facts that we're not going to talk publicly. You see what I mean?
Okay.
Because to be honest, like I said, we want to focus our energy and our attention right now on the freedom of the master teacher.
That's correct. That's correct.
Because that's the being that is here right now. Check it out. None of these other beings, and I will say this because we are kind of coming to the last 20 minutes. Like, I asked, there's a video coming out soon that we've done, another one with Christians, and I remember asking one of the Christians, like, how many books did Jesus write? And they said none. They didn't even know, were not aware that the book of Revelations is supposed to be his book. Right? That's one
correct.
book. You look at the nation and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and how many books did he write? You look at any leader, Malcolm X, you look at, as you say, Jesse Jack, you can name anyone alive or unalived or that has crossed over. None of them have written 1,000 books covering every subject, answering every question.
That's right. That's right.
Everyone
That's
on
right.
the planet. You see what I'm saying? So
Free the master teacher right now.
The master teacher's got to be free, and humanity will benefit from.
Absolutely,
from
absolutely.
freedom.
I'm with you 100%. I'm with you 100%.
Yeah.
You know?
So that's what we got to focus on. Jesse, like, condolences to his family, and you know he's come, he's done his thing, like everyone else. They're all gone. They're all gone. There's no one. Jesus is not here. Muhammad is not here. Malcolm X is not here. Martin Luther King is not here. Noble Jew is not. Ali is not here. The list goes on. Bob Marley is not here. There's no one here.
Yahweh Ben Yahweh. That's correct.
Yeah, I'm saying there's only the master teacher right now. How much do we want?
Absolutely.
Yeah, to get him home so that, you know, we can basically
at least to get the master teacher before his 81st birthday, dare I say.
Well, actually, you mean his 83rd, but yeah, I feel you still. He's got to come
81st,
out now.
Yeah, that's right.
Now. That's what we're
now.
Welcoming. Yeah.
Exactly. That's what I did now. The time is now.
Now. That's it. We want him out now.
We need the master teacher out now, bro.
Yeah, so everyone's got to do their part, you know, like each one teach one, spread the knowledge, do your part, join a community and help and work to help humanity evolve. If we don't, listen, man, it's not going to be one person. Like, what's going on is global now. You're dealing with the globalists, as they call them, like New World Order, globalists, these so-called elites. We are the ones giving them the energy and feeding them to be in a position of power. But when we take back that control and that power, we've just every single person on the planet saying enough is enough. We've had enough of the misinformation.
Absolutely. Because what's going on right now, you can just see it yourself. You feel it, you know it, you see it.
That's right.
You know?
Yeah, fear is one of the tools. Like, you know, like if you haven't got anything to lose, what do you have to fear?
Exactly. You fear nothing.
There you go.
There's nothing to fear because people are the fear of people is too much.
Yeah.
They should get rid of that.
That's right. Yeah. All right. Towel out for your questions.
Okay. And, thanks a lot.
Wadu. All right. Let's see what we've got in here. Okay. Yep, that's right. People are just reiterating what I was saying about Atlantis. Why did our ancestors make people on 2-stranded DNA instead of 12-stranded DNA? And why did they? All right, we got a live caller. Rahubat.
Rahubat Zamutat.
Zamutat.
Zamal.
I was going to say I didn't know. I changed my. All right, go ahead, Zamaltat. How you doing?
Kaya Fatia Antat.
Anuki Kawa Zamaltat. Wu Antat.
Tua. Anuki Wawe. I just wanted to say a massive tawakum to everyone for Saturday, for coming out to celebrate with us on Friendship Day. It was absolutely beautiful. It was such a great experience. I want to say Tower Tack to all online, all the people that travelled from so far to come. They drove from Birmingham. We had people from Luton, from Newcastle. It was just such a beautiful celebration. And I just wanted to say thank you all for supporting us. And we will be doing many, many more events to bring us all together. Free the master teacher. The time is now. We must come together in love and unity. And thank you all.
Tawakum,
Wu-Wadu, Zamal.
Tua. I was actually going to mention that, but we got straight into the questions and I'm going to kind of wait to the end. But yeah, thank you too. Like, it was an amazing event. Thanks to OSM Vision.
Thank you so much to OSM as well. Shout out the online. That really changed the gears. We loved it.
It was beautiful. Nafirmul, as we say. And the thing is that it was the first time we've done one with online, and it was very short notice, but I think the turnout was amazing. The food was it was just really all the options, vegan options, as well as those that were transitioning. Still had a lot to eat. People.
The live music.
Oh
the
yes, of
band.
course, the Love and Unity band.
It was wonderful.
Yeah,
The rappers, the spoken word. I just called to say thank you all.
Tour. And we'll be, as you say, gonna be having more events, and hopefully more people can, make it down. So look out. That's why you have to subscribe to our channel so that you can be notified, and we want feedback as well, how we can improve. So anyone that took pictures, video clips, share them in the group so that other people can see what.
I will be definitely sending out an email to all my staff online by emails as well, just to get some feedback there, so we can always level up. We're never giving up. We're leveling up.
Level up.
I shook.
What do? Sorry, Zamal, this is just frozen and I can't move the questions on the. Yeah, you give me some questions. We only got actually we got some time.
I'm gonna read some TikToks.
Okay.
Is God real? What makes suffering?
TikTok. If God is real, what? Say that again. Sorry.
If God is real, what makes suffering?
Again, it's a spell. When you say if God is real, it's your mindset and definition of what you're calling God, and what you're calling suffering, because everything is subjective. Like, you have gods that are weak. That's why, like you say, the God of the Bible, if that's the God you're talking about, that's going to be a different God to the God of the Quran, or the God of the Hindus, or the God of the Chinese, and so forth. So it's very important to know which God we're talking about, right? So these gods are being passed off as knowing and having, power, and they're almighty and omnipotent and omnificent and all these great titles, which means they can do anything, but in reality they can't. So you're talking about extraterrestrial gods that have limitations. That's why they can say, I'm a jealous God. That's why they say, it grieved me in my heart for creating something, or they want to wipe something out. Like, if a God knows everything, he shouldn't make mistakes. How can you write something and say, you know what, I actually didn't want to say that, I want to say this? That means that he doesn't know everything. So you have to first of all be clear in your mind who you're calling when you say God, and what is suffering, because suffering to one person, or something that you may consider suffering, to somebody else may be a training exercise. Like, like for example, if I say fast for a few days, to someone that's suffering, but to someone else they fast regular. So 3 days, 9 days, 21 days, they can fast for that long, and they understand or overstand the benefits of fasting. So to them, fasting and restraining from food, etc., it's not suffering. What is actually suffering? Because suffering could be a mental condition, or is it a disease, dis-ease, right? So you're not in comfort. So we have to look at this whole thing about suffering. There's difference between suffered, suffering. Yeah. So when you said, can you repeat the question one more time?
Let me scroll back.
Okay. So it was something about if God
is real, what makes suffering?
Yeah. The thing is, it's your concept of God. We are gods. We suffer, if you want to call suffering every day, in terms of what do you call suffering? Like, is it because you're not getting what you want? So we have to be very clear. Like Wu-Sabat is, it's kind of like we dissect everything. We put a magnifying glass on things so that we can make it so clear that you're not thinking God in the concept of a being sitting and floating in space, sitting on the chair floating in space, that doesn't move and doesn't do anything. Doesn't make sense. Like, does he have other furniture? It sounds funny, right? You don't have one chair in your house. You got to get up sometimes, and you're going to lay down, right? So if we're going to say sitting down, he can't sit down forever. He's going to have to get up and walk and stretch because you're going to get cramps, right? So we make it so real for you so that you know that the concept of what you're calling God is not the reality of what God really is. And so then when you say why they're suffering, that's what we say. We say the gods you guys talk about, the God of the Bible, the Quran and so forth, they don't have the power to get rid of the devil. See, that's how simple Wu-Sabat will be like, okay, who created the devil? Okay, God created the devil. Why? What's the purpose? Oh, he was an angel before, so you didn't know he was going to go bad. If you knew he was going to go bad and you didn't prevent him from going bad, then you still allowed it to happen. So who's really responsible? Is it you or is it the devil? And who's more powerful out of the devil and you? If you say you are, then we're like, get rid of him. If you can't, then you can't say you're more powerful than the devil. So these are the questions that when we go into it, because why am I saying the devil? Because you're saying the devil is responsible for the suffering on the planet, the bad and the wicked stuff and the diseases and the illnesses and the tornadoes, the hurricanes, the tsunamis, and the list goes on and on and on and on. There's more list of bad things than there is of good things. God can't help you whilst you're alive, but the minute you're crossing over, he knows how to punish you and put you into a place called hell to suffer. So why create the hell and the suffering in the first place? So it's the concept of what you're calling God. We're telling you it's there's extraterrestrials, different levels of them, and they have the natures of their offspring, and their doctrines are what people are following and worshipping them and calling them gods, and they just see their nature. So yeah, we don't teach that. Our concept of God is that you are God, and you're not even a concept. The reality is you are God, because everything around you only exists because you are here. If you didn't exist, think about this carefully. If you didn't exist, nothing would exist for you. So without you, there's nothing. Okay, so you are the God of your universe. So is everyone else. Collectively, we are gods, right? And that's why we behave and act like the gods of the Bible. So before you read a book and heard the words God, Allah, Yahweh, imagine you didn't read any books. You're born, you don't read or get taught English. You just live your life. There would be no problem. It's just the God concept. That's why the master teacher, Panda Babylon, Dr. Malachi Z.K. York, he put out a whole book series, a series of books called the God series. So you get to know who and what God is and who and what God isn't, so that you can liberate your mind from the shackles of thinking that what they're teaching you in these books that only go back 6,000 years, it's not facts. Yeah, so yeah, that question's kind of like a little bit redundant, but you have to break down who and what God is and who and what God isn't, and you have to break down what is suffering and what you call suffering, because not everyone suffers in this world. Some people are born into wealth, they live happily with everything they want and everything they need, so they're not suffering. Yeah, so I hope that answered that question. You got more? All right, go ahead.
I'm going to give you a short one, and then after that, there's one more long one.
Okay.
The short one is, why is she saying Tua? What is Tua?
Oh, sorry, again, because we're learning our language, we try to use it as much as we can. And the more you use the words, the more that you retain, remembering what they are. So Tua means yes in our language. So it's like saying yes. All right, next one.
How can I wake my mother up?
Is she asleep? What about you tried an alarm bell? No, I'm joking. Yeah, but it's funny because when you say wake her up, we think about sleep, right? And yeah, people are asleep and walking around. What we mean is the light's not switched on. I mean, the best thing you can do is introduce her to the knowledge, to the information, like to the videos, to the scrolls, but most importantly by your example. Like how is it benefiting and changing your life for the better? So sometimes we're hasty. Like we learn something, as much as it's profound and it maybe turns us, switches the light on for us, we want to run around and get everybody to be the same. But the reality is that you've got to know and learn a lot more before trying to convert other people. This is the problem with religion, because they tell you that Jesus said, I have many things to teach you, but you're not ready for them yet. And because of that, he's going to go away and is going to send somebody else to come and finish the job. So his mission, he didn't actually finish his job. That's why we say things like, he came to save the world and remove sin, but he didn't, because the world is still sinning. And, you know, he got, as they say, unalived. I'm saying that to say that if you don't get yourself in a position where you know how to deal with people, because sometimes our egos and, you know, excitement means that we want to run around trying to convert everybody, but we have to first submerge ourselves and learn. And then your example, by applying what you're learning, you see what it is many people don't have to say a word. Your energy and the way you carry yourself, like, people meet that before they meet you and before you open your mouth, you know. So sometimes we just have to learn. And I'm not saying this specifically for you, I'm saying it to all of us in general. Like, you have to learn to be humble. You have to learn. There's certain qualities and certain things that you have to learn before people will even take you seriously. You know, like I always mention what I apply, the 3 C's, right? And this is for all of us. Courage. You know, you have to be courageous enough to be like, do you know what? I stand for this. You know, I know this is truth, and you have a conviction for it. I know the master teacher is innocent. I know he's teaching truth. I know his works. I know no one else has been able to do for me and for millions of people what he has done. If I know that, and there's no one else, nothing else, then I'm on the winning side. I'm on the winning team. He teaches truth, and we all want truth. Nobody likes to be lied to, you see. So courage is important. Number 2, you have to be consistent. We can't, like, we are consistent. Like OSM, we're banging out videos, and like, you know, your timeline is just popping up with more and more videos because we're consistent. We will never run out of, because it's based on your questions. I remember the last live we did, somebody was saying, oh, he must know what the questions are, because how comes he's got every book ready? No, because the books cover every topic, every question we've ever thought of asking. And because of that, when you ask a question, I just have to look for the book. And the book, I only read a little bit, but if you read the whole book, the amount of knowledge you get, you'll be amazed. Be amazed. Get a book and read it and see for yourself. So that's consistency. You've got to be consistent. Don't come one-hit wonders. You're here today, tomorrow you're gone. You see us here every Tuesday, unless, even when I've been ill a little bit with like a cold or flu, we still struggle through. OSM's consistent, right? The last one is what? Commitment. You have to be committed. If you're not committed to something, then you're not going to do it. So the first thing is to be courageous, consistent, commitment. 3 C's. I kind of got that from one of my colleagues, and I've borrowed it and used it ever since. I told him I would anyway. Patrick, if you're listening, all right, so I'm giving you props. The 3 C's. He might have got it from somewhere else, and that person might have got it from somewhere else, because everything ultimately comes from the mental reservoir anyway. We just tap in. So yeah, that's the first thing I would say to anyone. Like, don't rush out to save the world when you haven't saved yourself. Yeah. Any more questions?
Yeah, there's one I want to ask you, but...
Okay, we've got caller, live caller again. Greetings,
Hello?
Rahubat. What's your name and where you calling from?
Again.
Rahubat.
Hi, I'm calling. My name is Lenita. I'm calling from Brooklyn.
Rahubat.
I called the Bushwick branch because I wanted to find some of the books, The Sacred Wisdom of Tahuti, and they were out of stock. Do you know where I could find it?
We have it.
Oh, you have it. So, because
Yeah.
I tried going on the website, I don't know where to go to find the book.
Right, we're going to put the link in the chat right now, but it's nashat.co.uk.
Okay.
Yeah, you can order it from us and we'll get it out to you. This is the beauty about having many stores worldwide. So if one doesn't have it, there may be another one that has it. So yeah, you can get that from us. We can get that out to you.
Okay, so whatever link you put in the chat, I could just get it from there.
It's there already. I just saw it. Just click it and it will take you to the website. And then just search for the sacred or sacred, just any other keywords, Sacred Wisdom of Tahuti, and you will get it.
Okay, thank you, Sir Ken.
You're welcome. Wadu.
And then the last question for today.
Yeah.
Oh, has it got another call up?
Okay, we'll take it.
I want to do this last question after, yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Hello, can you hear me? Sorry.
Rahubat, Zamal. Greetings. What's your name? Where are you calling from and what's your question, please?
Jaden, so I'm calling from like round Brum.
Okay. You okay?
Yeah, I just had a question, sir, because I've been like watching a few of your videos on like on YouTube and that, and then you literally just popped up on like my For You page. So
okay.
Yes, I had a question. I know you talk about dealing with direct knowing, isn't it? And like a lot of these religious beliefs isn't really based off direct knowing. It's based off like preconceived ideas and notions, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I had a question. So if we deal with direct knowing, how are we so sure about these extraterrestrials without experiencing them at first hand?
Right, great question. Because you have tests that you can use to establish something being true or not. That's evidence, reason, and experience. And you can't always experience something to know that it's the truth. Yeah, so you'll have to rely on the other two in this situation. And we actually say to people, if you have no evidence or have never had an extraterrestrial experience, then don't believe it. Because believing is to not know. So to you, it's fine to say, I don't believe in extraterrestrials because you've never had the experience. And there's nothing wrong with that. But the reality is, in the same way we say that to somebody that has never had an experience, what do you say to the people that have? Because they will tell you,
that's where it gets a bit techier, because I have had an experience with like something that a person would call paranormal, but my perception changed behind it. Like before, whether I used to see that it was something outside of me, I recognize that it was within my experience, so it has to be a part of me.
Right, like, that's what I'm saying. I'm not. What I'm saying is not directed at you specifically. All I'm saying is that with Wu-Sabat is we would deal with both scenarios and both situations, meaning that like we can talk about things with experience, but if you've never experienced it before, then all you can do is believe it, but you don't have to believe it, which is fine. But what I'm saying is that if you want to know whether it's true or not, even if you haven't experienced it yourself, you can look at the evidence, right? You can reason it out and see if it makes sense. Sometimes you need all three tests to confirm something to you. Sometimes you only need one out of the three tests. But the combination of the permutations of the three, evidence, reason, and experience, will usually get you to the truth. And if you don't know something, just wait until you get to know. But like, it's just that once you know, it kind of dismisses the belief. Like, why believe when you can know? And some people, they just want to stay in belief. They don't want to go and do any research, check anything out, look at the evidence. It's like, imagine, last point. Imagine you're accused of something. And the way the court system, the judicial system works is that you got to come and you'll have two people, right? One is the person that is the defendant, and then the other person is going to be the accuser. So the person that has to determine who's telling the truth from who's not telling the truth will be the judge. The judge cannot just believe you. Like, you just can't bring somebody to court and say, you know, I believe that this person did this and did that. The judge is going to go, okay, that's your belief. Where's the evidence? And he has to make a choice of whether to punish you for being guilty or not. So for him, he's got to be, it's a serious position to be in, because you could send somebody to jail, or, you know what I mean, maybe even lose their life based on a decision that you made. So he has to be like, okay, present your evidence. Now, if there was CCTV, witnesses, you know, there's enough evidence, and he's looking at it and saying, that's you on the camera, then it's refutable unless the camera or the video is doctored. And if it is doctored, meaning it's been edited or been messed with, then you can also have experts that deal with videography, or people that can tell whether or not, like now, people will see stuff on social media and they don't know whether it's real or not. Some people can just see and go, nah, that's AI, because it has certain elements of vibration in terms of the way it's done. And I do that all the time. I know what it's like. That's not real. So the judge has to go by evidence and not, oh, I believe, just believe me, he did it. Because you've got people that accuse people and they get sentenced and spend life in jail and they haven't done or committed a crime. So yeah, we're not telling anybody to believe anything.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do you know what you're going on about now? Then about obviously having that like solid form of like proof that makes things from believing to a knowing. Is there anything that I could like research upon?
Yeah, I mean, it depends what you want to know. Like, for example, we have a book, an actual fact called The Proof. Yeah. I don't have it with me, but it's called The Proof. And in that, and we have another one called The Decision, because the way the master writes is he gives you so much evidence and references for you to research and check out for yourself. That's why one of his favorite saying is, don't believe me, check it out. Because once you check things out and get to a point where you confirm it for yourself, it's not really anybody that's trying to, you know, tell you to come and believe them. So get that score. It's called Actual Fact, The Proof by Parna Babyanun. And it gives you so much information. Even now, like, let's say, okay, let's take extraterrestrial or UFOs. Let's say you say, I don't believe that. Okay, there are people who will say, show you footage, people that were working in the military, people that were involved in certain cover-ups, people that have written books about it, people that are telling you what happened on their deathbed because they have nothing to lose now. They're just going to tell you the truth. Because before they couldn't do that because they swore certain oaths and, you know, sworn to secrecy and so on. And now even the governments of the world are starting to talk about UFOs or UAPs, where years ago they would say, that never happened, it's not true, it's a weather balloon. Like, take another scenario, they went to the moon. Back then, people are like, now looking at the footage, looking at everything surrounding the evidence, and they will tell you, that makes no sense. How is somebody on the moon waiting to film them arriving? You see what I mean? This is just using reasoning and the evidence of the footage. Like, the president is ringing and talking to people on the phone in space. Like, these are the things that we would not look at before and just take it for granted. And it's one of those old telephones, like analog phones. How are you speaking to someone in space? On the moon?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we're in a day and time where the truth is being revealed, and there's, you know, you're either gonna wake up or you're gonna stay asleep, and either one is down to the person. But does that answer your question?
I just like to also add on that, like, it's not necessarily that I don't believe in, like, I believe that everyone's first-hand experience is real. It's just that I know that sometimes people's experience can be, they can experience something through their preconceived ideas. Like, cause
you're right. You're 100%.
It's so strong. Like, you know what I mean?
No, you're right. There's a book we also have called Projection and Reflection, because that's what it's talking about. That some people are reflecting what they've stored or projecting out what they've been programmed with all their lives, and they have such a conviction in it that they believe it so much that they will reflect that back out from their subconscious mind and believe it to the point where, you know, to everybody else, they're like, that's not plausible. But yeah, you're right. That also happens, you know, but you know, when you have an experience or you experience something, it's like no one can tell you different after that.
Because
you know.
I have had an experience to where it wasn't a part of any preconceived idea before, but when I had the experience, like years later, I like came to the perception that it wasn't anything outside of me. Like, you know what I mean? But I had one more question as well.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. I noticed you spoke about like the master teacher and how like him coming out would like help everyone in a way, and I'm not dismissing that, but like I can also feel like sometimes that framing that we need something comes from like a sense of lack when like we have everything that we need already, like, you know what I mean?
Sorry, I don't kind of get the question.
So like do you know how like you said how the master teacher is needed to help like humanity?
Yeah.
Yeah, like I feel like sometimes framing that creates like a sense of like lack. Like my perspective is that humans have what they need. Like the shift happens through us, not through something else being released out.
I hear you. I hear the point.
Yeah.
But the reality is that we can also, based on that, delude ourselves and have egos. That's why we say no, but we don't know everything. Yeah. And if we say that, then it means we're open to hearing or learning or having a different perspective. Now, when you know who he really is and his mission and the fact that he has incarnated here to do a job, I mean, obviously, that would take you time to learn to know who he really is and why we say that. But I do hear what you mean, that at the same time we're saying that, our collective consciousness can bring about outcomes that we want. Like, for example, the so-called elites and the people that have, you know, like the movie The Matrix kind of explains this, where you think you're in a simulation and you don't know because you're not the one in control of it and the buttons that are being pushed. But there's something within your being, right, that will discern and tell you, and you feel like something isn't right. There's an anomaly outside of what we perceive as normal life. You see, so what we're saying is when you get to know who the master teacher really is, why we say that, and why he's in there and what's the purpose, it's got many layers. You know, it's a test for humanity as well. And that's what I mean by knowing the being that he is and how that test is to help humanity, because many times these extraterrestrial higher beings, they want to see if we are ready to evolve as humanity to a different level, because like many people have been maimed by way of not realizing how powerful they really are. And once you know this and you receive what you're supposed to receive to turn you on, we speak about the barytheric gland. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like, or like getting back your full capacity in terms of usage of your brain. All of these things, it's known that people use less than 10% of their brain. So imagine using 100%. What would you be able to do? What cures or diseases, what inventions and technologies would you come out with when you're now so much more intelligent. You know, so yeah, I do hope that has answered your question.
Yeah. I was gonna say, can you remind me what that book was? One more
Proof,
time, sorry. Was it Proof of what?
The Proof by Parna Babylon. Let me see.
Proof by Parna.
I'll see if I can show it to you. If I've got it here. Yeah, and the other one was what did I say? The Decision. Yeah, The Decision as well.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah, but it'll be, we can join our Telegram group because we can. Here you go, I found it. This is The Proof. Yeah, you can get hold of that. And if the books are sold out, you just have to source them from other stores. You got it? Okay, cool. Yeah. Proof by way of Parna Babylon. Why this is good is because it will give you many scenarios or questions that people will have, and then gives you the answers and the references so that you can go and research it and gather the evidence for yourself, because it addresses what we call the 9 worthy quests, right? So these are, like it says, I have been known by many Rananat names, titles, and attributes. I am a who, not a what. I have incarnated this time for you to know only Tasu, 9 worthy quests. And the 9 are 1, what, 2, where, 3, when, 4, why, 5, how, 6, who, 7, proof, 8, confirm, 9, reveal. Why believe what you can't prove when you can prove what is true? These 9 set the Sajal record of fate, F-A-T-E, and replace this fiction of faith, F-A-I-T-H, belief, hope, desire, and wish. In the beginning, nothing preceded. In the middle, nothing stays. In the end, nothing is after. It is not about what you accept or what you become. It was and always will be who you are. Yeah, I'll leave it there for that.
Yeah, I'm respecting it. Thanks for having the time and to answer my questions as well.
No problem. That's what we are. OSM, ask us anything. All right, I saw 1 or 2 questions here quickly that
I'll give you the last one.
Okay.
You ready?
Go ahead.
Did you see President Obama said aliens were real?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I heard it all over the news yesterday, but then they tried to turn it into a joke after. This is what I'm saying. It's like the word science fiction, isn't it? They'll tell you the truth and then add fiction to it to kind of throw you off. And then they joked about Area 51. The thing is that it's, again, distractions from reality. All right, so because he says it now, just going by that line of thought, what does that change? Does that now mean that people accept and believe it? When we've been saying it all along. So, like I said, these are little sound bites that distract and create conversations, and after a while people move on and forget about it. It's just news for that time. But as time goes on, you will see, because they will be made publicly available to people. It's just the time has come, you know. So people can think what they like until the time when they see it for themselves. But yeah, I mean, the question was, did I see it? Yes, I did. But yeah, we've been saying that for years. All right.
The live just got restricted on TikTok.
Is it? Wow, that's funny. We must be reaching and touching some truths. Anyway,
before we go, what was the 3 C's? Do you remember?
Yeah, I do.
What was it?
Courage. I said it the other way around, but this time I'm going to say it this way around. Courage, commitment, and consistency. Yeah, 3 C's to live by. All right. Okay, so we've come to that time again. until Saturday. You know, we have our classes every Saturday anyway, for anyone to join from anywhere in the world. Ask any question about anything, no matter how silly you think it is. We ain't gonna ridicule and laugh at you, no matter how complex it is. What's the worst that can happen? If we don't know, we're gonna say we don't know, but we know a man who does, and we'll look to get the question answered for you. But that's Saturday, 7 p.m. to 9:30 on all platforms. And then we'll be here again next week, same time, same place, for this live. And we'll see you then. Tawakum to everyone that came to our Friendship Day again. It was so much fun. And we look forward to seeing those who we didn't see this time on the next one. And see you again.